It's the West Coast Eagles and the Melbourne Football Club here at Perth Stadium, and the West Coast Eagles still reeling and still rocked by what was such a costly Western Derby for them. They've had to make 7 changes, all through injury or concussion, and they lose 947 games and 5 premierships when the likes of Shee, Cripps, McGovern, Ryan and Shuey all go out of the side. Admittedly, Shee did cop a stray elbow to the neck at training this week, so he wasn't an injured player out of the Derby, but nonetheless, West Coast could ill afford to lose so many key players as they continue their rebuild up against the side that remains, if not the, certainly one of the premiership favourites for 2023. Melbourne have won their past 5 games here at Perth Stadium, including, of course, the 2021 AFL Grand Final. The Demons have made their way out onto the ground. They come in off the back of a big win over Sydney. They crushed the Swans to the tune of 50 points last week. And Melbourne would also know they had a big win over the Western Bulldogs to begin the season. Their one loss up at the Gabatoir to Brisbane. So they're in good form as they come west to face this injury-depleted West Coast Eagles side. There is one positive for them. Elliot Yeo comes back for his first game since round 16. A calf injury saw him miss the opening 3 games of the season. He is a premiership player, and West Coast have had to throw him straight back into the mix with the number of outs they have. And they would also be celebrating one of their young guns, Elijah Hewitt. He picked up the Rising Star, Ruben Ginbey picked up the Rising Star nomination earlier this week, the Round 3 Rising Star, their first since Round 5 2019. And he and another youngster, Elijah Hewitt, should get a real idea of what's required at this level a little bit later on this afternoon against the Melbourne side, just full of stars. And they bring back another star too, coming back after 2 weeks of suspension. Keziah Pickett returns for the Melbourne Footy Club. The Eagles have made their way out onto the ground. They're wearing their traditional home colours, the blue, the gold wings, the blue shorts. The Demons in their traditional home jumper. They've got the white shorts on here in the West. Clint Wilden with you alongside Dave Lindsay in commentary. G'day, Dave.
Good afternoon, Clint. Happy Easter to you and to all our listeners. Yes, the Eagles led out by Tom Barrass, the acting skipper this afternoon, who, according to Gavin Bell on Sports Talk yesterday, said it'd be a very different team talk from Tom compared to what they're used to from Luke Shuey. So fascinating to see how the Eagles respond this afternoon. All those players out. Opportunities, of course, come to the youngsters now, and their supporters, the Eagles supporters, have been crying out for some of these youngsters to get some game time over the past couple of years. So they'll get their chance this afternoon and in the coming weeks. And on the other side, of course, Melbourne just tuning up nicely. A couple of big wins in their first 3 rounds of the season. Brodie Grundy gets to ruck by himself again this week with no Max Gawn. Let's see how that Melbourne midfield take on the Eagles this afternoon. You'd expect they're lining up some big numbers, some of those star midfielders that they've got.
It is unfairly perhaps a matter of the margin. If you're a Melbourne supporter, you would think that there's a big opportunity to get some percentage points today. West Coast say they're going out to play for a win, but it's an almighty task that faces them. They do have one positive. Bailey Williams, there was some talk as well about whether he might miss out the ruckman. He is okay. He's been named in the squad and he's run out for the West Coast Eagles. Our experts, Cara Antonio, former Fremantle AFLW captain, Bo McDonald, part of that dynasty up at the Brisbane Lions and a multiple premiership player himself, join us here on Grandstand AFL. It looks lopsided. What do West Coast try and do today? How do Melbourne go about this game? It would be the upset of upsets if the Eagles were to get over the line, but a chance, as Dave said, for West Coast to have a look at Hoff, West, Clark, Edwards, Cully, and more opportunities for Rotham down back. How do you see this one playing out? Bo, Cara, welcome to you both.
Happy Easter to you, Clint, Dave, Bo, and to all our listeners. Yeah, look, we were all here, apart from you, Bowie, last week for the Derby, and I was really impressed with how the Eagles came out and they started. They wanted to move the ball at all costs, really fast. I think there was 10 goals scored up at quarter time between the two sides, and unfortunately, due to a number of injuries, they just weren't able to run out the game. But they showed great heart, great resilience. They pretty much played with 17 and a half players for the majority of that second half, with Ryan and Chesser obviously with niggly injuries that now are pretty serious. So, look, as you mentioned, Clint, there's a number of young players that have come into this side that are going to get a test and are well and truly going to know what it takes to be the best, running against the likes of Petrarca, Oliver, Viney, Lever and May down back. So, look, I'm going to be really interested to see how this young West Coast group comes out and really takes it up to the Melbourne Demons. How long that will last for is probably the question.
Yeah, I'm with you, Juddy. I think that it's going to be intriguing. I think the young Eagles have shown the ability to crack in and win the ball, which was fantastic last week. I think where they're going to be really mindful is they're playing against a midfield that runs hard both ways, and that's the key when you're a young midfielder, is learning to be able to run hard both ways. So that'll be the test as the game goes on, is to be able to stick with those guys. And of course, if you can't, it's going to give Melbourne a lot of midfield corridor opportunities, and then it makes it really hard for your back line. I think Melbourne's a forward line pressure with Cozzy back. I love watching Cozzy Pickett play. I think he's a pressure barometer for Melbourne, and when he's closing down time and space, the rest fall in behind and follow, and they're a really hard team to beat.
Oh, 100%. And just looking at the stats throughout the week, Melbourne Demons, they're the number 2 tackle team in the comp, and also the number 2 tackle team inside forward 50. And you mentioned Pickett. That's the one for me. Who is going to match up on him? Who's going to go to him? He kicked 4 in round 1. He had 7 tackles inside forward 50, 30 pressure acts, 7 marks, 19 disposals. He's an absolute barometer for them up forward, and I don't know if West Coast have got a match-up. So most of the time he doesn't know what he's doing, which is so exciting for viewers and fans to see him go about his business. But for me, their pressure, Melbourne, they were superb last weekend against the Swans, belting them by 50 points, and they really went to work on their contested possession. They lost the contested possession count in the first 2 rounds, and last weekend they were plus 34. Really solid in front of goal as well, kicking the 16-1 from their set shots. So they're back in some incredible form. The likes of Petrarca and Oliver go about their business each and every week, but I think that connection's finally gelled, especially, as we mentioned before, not having Max Gawn in there and Grundy doing the brunt of all the ruck work.
Yeah, I think what's going to make it hard for the Eagles' backs too is Melbourne forwards have got those smart, like Neil Bullen and Fritsch. They're hard to drop off. They come straight at the kicker. They find those spaces, and we all know how the Eagles' defence likes to play. So that's going to be really difficult for them today. And just another matchup I'm really excited about watching is that they've been talking up Oscar Allen as being the big new forward for the Eagles, and I reckon there's no better opponent than Stephen May. I reckon you think about him the night before you go out and play. He plays it hard, and I think it's going to be a good tussle to watch today.
Oh, well, you mentioned it there. The likes of May down there and even Lever, they like to chop the ball up. Melbourne number 3 for intercept possessions. So if West Coast are going to have any opportunity or chance of scoring, they've got to lower the eyes. They can't bomb and hope it in because we know the likes of those two, especially even Petty at times, can come across and chop that ball off. So they've got to play smart footy. I'd love to see him come out like they started last week against the Dockers, come straight out of the guts, straight through, the likes of Tim Kelly. He was superb last week, and the young guns. Connor West impressed me last weekend in the scratchy that they took on Subi. So, look, they've got some talent in there. It's just whether or not, or how long, I suppose, they can run with this incredible Demon outfit.
Someone I'm keen to get a look at live, and again, came through the Claremont system, and his brother was very impressive, I believe, yesterday in a Colts game as well, in Sam Van Rooyen. But Jacob Van Rooyen got his opportunity in the last game against Sydney, was tremendous. 3 goals straight for a 19-year-old. Plays his second game today, taken at pick 19 in the 21 national draft. They took their time to give him an opportunity, and it looks like he's certainly going to reward the Demons. Just having a look at him live again now, 6 tackles as well. He's a solid lump of a lad to play forward. I'm really keen to see him live today. Tell us a bit more about what you're hoping from him. Dave, I know you've watched him over a long period of time, and you too, Bo.
Oh, he's an exciting talent, isn't he, Bo? I mean, mobile forward. Had to earn his spot last year. Such a tough team to get drafted into. You sometimes wonder whether you're better off going to a lower place team so you get the opportunities. But once you've earned your opportunity like he has, now he's not going to give it up to.
Yeah, look, it won't hurt him doing an apprenticeship, that's for sure. But he's a terrific fella from the Tigers over here in Western Australia, the Claremont Tigers. And look, it's just great to see these young blokes. Got to spend a bit of time with the 18s a few years back, and he was one of the kids coming through, and you just marvel at the growth once they get into that professional environment and they can really get into their craft. It's great to see him get a go, and look, it'll be really exciting for him coming back to his home state and probably playing on a ground he's always wanted to play on as a kid. So yeah, all the best to Jacob today, and hopefully he kicks a few goals.
Also another one of the youngsters for the Melbourne Football Club, Judd McVie, down in defence. Had a long chat with the very experienced Stephen May a short time ago. Taken in the rookie draft of 22, pick 16. He's 19, will play his 4th game today. It is the Jaden Hunt Cup in many respects. The former Demon, who was so disappointed to miss out on their 2021 Premiership side. He's moved across and will play his old team for the very first time, Jaden Hunt, after 114 games with Melbourne and 43 goals. He's been quick and has been a very important addition for West Coast in the 3 games he's played so far this year, kicking 3 goals himself. Repeating the score from earlier today, if you missed the game, the Bombers over the Giants by 13 points, 11-22-88 to GWS 11-9-75. So a win to the Bombers. Of course, tomorrow the round will wrap up with Geelong versus Hawthorn. Ridiculous to think that 2 sides down at the foot of the ladder. Who would have imagined that after the last couple of decades of domination from those 2 sides? Not too far away from getting a start here at Perth Stadium. It really is magnificent in terms of the weather. Great view from our broadcast position on the northern wing up on the 4th floor. Someone who's a bit closer to the action downstairs for us today. A big welcome and a happy Easter to Akash Fodada. G'day, Akash.
Thanks, Clint, and happy Easter to everyone. Yeah, it is a beautiful day for football. There's not really any wind to speak of, about 23 degrees down here. Fairly sparse crowd with this Easter Sunday fixture. I don't know if Eagles fans are a bit worried and decide to stay away, but we'll see if they file in as the game gets underway. Looking across to who's going to start on the bench for West Coast: Elijah Hewitt, Tom Cole, Noah Long and Jai Cully, with Josh Rotham as the sub. And for Melbourne, Bowie, Tom McDonald, Alex Neil-Bullen and Sparrow on the bench, with James Jordan as the sub.
And Melbourne captain Jack Viney has won the toss. Melbourne will kick to the city end in the first quarter.
So to the right of our broadcast box, I'm assuming we're all tipping Melbourne in the box today. I look around,
Definitely.
There's a nod. Well, there's one problem for the Demons I'll have to overcome. What sort of margin you were predicting today?
I'll go 75.
75 for you, Dave?
65 for me.
Yep. Cara?
I'll be a bit nice. I'll just go with the 10 goals flat, 60.
I think we might see a record margin today. 81 points at the moment for this season. I reckon Melbourne, if they get going, can get past that. West Coast, they will be up and about early on. Their coach, determined. He's made the comments several times in media interviews this week. This is about effort today for West Coast. He says they are going out to win. There'll be few bigger upsets in recent history. They were 12-1 at one stage in the markets going into this game. Certainly, they are the reddest of red-hot favourites, Melbourne, even though they are away from home. But it has been a home away from home for the Demons in recent times. Plenty of good memories for plenty of these players in the red and the blue. Let's get this underway. West Coast versus Melbourne here on Grandstand AFL, thanks to ABC Sport. Dave Lindsay's with you.
Cozzy Pickett starting on the ball as well as Grundy palms it down to the runner in Oliver, and Melbourne go forward first. Accidental soccer kick going the wrong direction by Chandler. Kelly in the way at centre-half back. Lost it to Jones, his teammate. Stripped to the football. Here's Yo making his return to the side. Well tackled by Langdon, wearing the long sleeves today. We'll get a ball up at half-forward for the Dees. Umpire waste no time. Neither ruck touched the footy. It appeared that Williams was hanging on to Grundy, but no free kick. Ball just trickles inside 50. Hand pass from Spargo. Sets up Langdon. Up against the boundary. 40 out. Clever centering ball. There's 3 Demons queuing up for this one. And the 2 smaller players leave it for Fritsch, who slides in and marks 25 out, slight angle, virtually directly in front.
We saw it at the centre bounce there, carried him. It could be a problem all day. Grundy is very good at owning the line and winning that hit out, and they straight away inside forward 50 for the D's, and they're going to get a shot on goal.
So Bailey Fritsch to open the scoring here this afternoon. Outstanding on grand final day on this venue. Not so good against the Eagles in 6 matches, just 7 goals. Might be licking his lips this afternoon though. He opens the scoring with a goal. The Demons on the board inside 75 seconds here at Perth Stadium. We listen to Grandstand AFL by McDonald and Cara. Antonio, your experts.
Well, we mentioned it at the start, they love that tackle pressure game, Melbourne, and you called it, Bo, straight out of the centre. Oliver's already had a couple of touches and just smart running by Langdon there on the wing to centre that ball. He could have easily had a ping from the boundary. The selfless footy that we've grown to know of Melbourne over the current years, to centre it. There was 3 Melbourne players around, and Fritz obviously got on the end of that one. Really good finish.
Last time these sides met, round 9 last year, Melbourne won that by 74 points. That was a record margin for the Demons in wins over the Eagles. They're on track to push past that. How do West Coast respond? Grundy again up against Williams. Williams palms it down. Out after it, Jimmy ran straight into a strong tackle. Pickett got him. Ball jars free. Here's a chance for West Coast. Jones hands it back to Yo. Back in the team this week. Not a great kick to the outer side. West over the top. Good hand pass back to Clark, to Kelly. Now the Eagles a chance through Gav. They work it again to Jinby. He'll run towards the top of the 50. Kick towards goal. He'll miss to the right-hand side. They're on the board, and that was promising stuff from West Coast through the middle. In fact, they've spotted here. It's not going to be a behind. What are they talking?
Review, I think. They're going to check if it's hit the behind post.
So they'll send this one upstairs.
I think it would be a boundary throw-in, wouldn't it? I'm pretty sure it bounced on the way through.
Bounced on the way through. Has it hit the right-hand behind post? Hard to see from any of the angles that we're looking at on the big screen. Boundary umpire was closer than the goal umpire, who was in the right spot. And I'm not sure, do they actually have Snicko for what it's worth in the behind post?
I guess we're going to find out now, aren't we?
I'm pretty sure it's goal post only for Snicko. I reckon it might have just touched the bottom right of the post on the way through, but it's hardly conclusive. What do they say? As we send it upstairs, no score.
Oh, it didn't bounce on the full.
So it's gone out of bounds on the full. I thought it bounced on the way through. Not to be. Free kick for the Demons. They'll move it out from left half back through May.
He's with a long kick and a spectacular leap from Barras. Didn't quite hang on to it. The fans rode it with him all the way. He's got up hobbling a little bit too, Barras, as he jogs back into defence. Get a ball up between wing and half forward. Grundy against Williams again. Once more they crash into each other. That might be Williams' tactic today, just to nullify Grundy. Neither ruckman touch it. Kelly emerges with the football. Sends a long kick inside 50. A wrestle on between May and Darling. Good body work from Allen. Gets rid of Lever. Ball at ground level. Allen comes in strongly again opposed to Viney this time. A hopeful hand pass from Hibberd. Just gained some ground, but the Eagles are queuing up here. Williams about 55 out. Hands it off to Gaff. Wheels around onto the left. Back to the hot spot. Darling leaps. So too Waterman. May swats it out of the area. Straight to Viney. Viney's hand pass puts Rivers under pressure. Rides the tackle well. Hand pass to McVie. Lays another one off to Langdon. And the Deeds can escape.
Langdon with the short haircut. Eagles fans, or more correctly, probably Fremantle fans, wouldn't recognise him. The Demons are away through Petrarca down the commentary wing. Comes here to Chandler. Oh, great smother hole. Diving out, knocks it to ground. That is the effort his coach would want. Picked up though by Hunt, and he's tackled. Grundy takes him to ground for a ball up. West Coast fans, plenty to cheer about from their youngsters. Certainly Hoff in that play. It would have been sent inside forward 50 if it not for the smother. Oliver's able to take it from the restart. Throws it on the boot. Hoff showing courage. Pargo came the other way and Spargo marks. He's at right half forward. Bounces a kick inside forward 50. Petty couldn't gather. Langdon's there. Hard up against the boundary. Goes with the outside of the boot. Goes narrow and misses. Looking to curl it through. Minor score though. Demons all the scoring so far. 1-1-7 Melbourne. West Coast yet to score. 6 gone in the opening term. Grandstand AFL on ABC Radio, ABC Sport Digital.
Shannon Hearn, one of just 5 Eagles premiership players out there today with a long kick, almost getting it to the wing. Broadcast side, Kelly shows the footy to several players and they all stay off him. And he turns it over with his kick. Straight down the throat of Hibberd at half back. The ex-bomber. With the D's quite some time now though. High and long with the left boot. Petty is the target. Using the body well, Hearn does enough to spoil. Crumbs fall to the XD in Hunt, who sends it straight back down to Hibberd once more. And Hibberd wants to switch play to the open side. It's a good kick. Finds Hunter. Crossing from the Western Bulldogs this season, sends his kick out very wide. Chandler leads in the race, but the ball is put well too far out in front of him, and that's a poor kick from Hunter. Boundary throw in left half forward. Melbourne by 7 points. It's 7-0 after 7 minutes.
Still a fairly sparse crowd by West Coast standards. 35,000 or so in at the moment. The ball spun back into play. One down by Grundy, but Kelly was there to shark it for the Eagles. Gave it to Hoff, then to Jones. Oh, Hunt waited. It was almost stolen away from him. Clark's able to pick it up. Moves it short to Petreski-Seaton. They dodged the bullet then, West Coast. Petreski-Seaton short to Duggan on the commentary wing. Now to Hunt, who marks it left half forward. Brayshaw stands the mark. Hunt has to pause. No option immediately there, so he'll have to put it deep into the left forward pocket. Big pack underneath. Lever got a fist to it. Spills out the back. Oliver almost ran by him. Scooped up by Hunter. Under pressure. Goes back to McVee, who sensibly steps across the line for a rush behind. First score for the Eagles is now on the board. They're one behind Melbourne, 1-1-7. 7.5 gone in the opening term.
It's a bit better ball movement there by the West Coast Eagles, just finding the targets and not just banging it down the line where Melbourne have got the numbers.
Stephen May again, this time with a kick in. Straight up the middle, it's a good long kick. Grundy the target, knocked away from him by Barras. Ball in dispute in the middle of the ground. Hands and knees, the hand pass comes out the back door from Cole. Now to Kelly. Low scrubbing kick, bounces its way across the 50-metre arc. McVee first to get there for Melbourne. Hot hand pass to Brayshaw. Next hand pass not well taken by Sparrow either. Loose footy comes back to Brayshaw. His hand pass untidy too. Puts May under pressure. Knocks it towards Hunter and the boundary line. Hunter ducks under one tackle. Tried to break the second. He's caught. Play on's the call. Ball comes out. Kick into the corridor. Standing underneath it, Rivers. Juggles it and claims the mark. And saves the day a bit for Melbourne there. A little bit scrappy from the Demons. They lead it by a goal after 9 minutes.
So they move it short. Just up the corridor. We'll get it back then, Rivers too. Clever little hand pass from Sparrow. Rivers kicks towards left half forward. Good defensive mark. Cole was out, got in front of Petty. Has it for West Coast at right half back. Barras is with him. He trots back inside his defensive 50, and that's where the Cole kick will go. Between full-back and centre half back. And Barras flares it out in the direction of Jaden Hunt. Marks it left half back. Moves it back inboard. Chance here for Edwards. Luke Edwards, short pass to Jones beyond defensive 50. Pauses for a moment. Sends it back again to Barras. They went left, they now go right, West Coast. To Shannon Hearn, thumping kick down the outer wing. It was precise. It finds Kelly, who marks. Chance to play on. Kelly wanted someone to run towards him. Put it inside forward 50. Darling saw Brayshaw just get in front of him and take the defensive mark for the Demons. He read it better, the Demons premiership player, and then gave it to May, who goes to Hunter beyond defensive 50 at left half back. 1-1-7 Melbourne, one behind West Coast. 10 gone in the opening term.
Hunter, of course, played in that 2021 grand final, but he's wearing the wrong colours as far as he's concerned. And Melbourne fans wearing the right colours now. Ball towards the wing. We'll get a ball up on the sponsor's logo.
West Coast have definitely come to play. I'm loving the intensity and energy, and the tackle pressure's been outstanding. They've had the majority of the play and just haven't been able to capitalise on the scoreboard.
Ruckman wrestle. Grundy gets a second crack. Shanks the kick but gains 20 metres. Finds Pickett on the bounce, who burns away. A bit of speed on the turn. Kicks towards full forward and stretching and marking. A wonderful grab by McDonald.
Well, there we saw Cosy Pickett just put it into sixth gear, and what a great kick out in front of McDonald. He didn't really even have to break stride. Not much Barras could do about that. They just led to the open side of the ground, and Cosy found him.
Kicked the goal after the siren in that grand final to put the finishing touches on a famous Melbourne victory. Good to see him back out there for the D's today. His kicking for goal is normally very reliable, and this never looked like missing. Melbourne have the first two on the board. 11 minutes played in the first quarter here at Perth Stadium. It's the D's 2-1-13, leading West Coast one behind.
Well, you mentioned it there, Bowie. not only can Cozzy Pickett hit the scoreboard himself, he sets up his teammates with his elite ball use and just a fantastic kick out into the open space. And Tommy McDonald, I love the way he goes about his footy. Obviously, with Ben Brown out this week, he's got his opportunity again, and he doesn't disappoint. He's got a great set shot kick and obviously put that one through for the D's. And yeah, unfortunately, West Coast have had, I mentioned it before, had the majority of the play. They just haven't been able to have that mid-forward connection yet. Kelly had a couple of times inside forward 50 wanting someone to come at the foot, and unfortunately it was intercepted by the D's.
And it was another inside 50 from a Grundy dominating the stoppage, so that could be a problem all day.
Ball back in the middle. Waterman will do the ruck work against Van Rooyen. And the bounce, Waterman punches it forward. Has Oliver been held? He was. He'll get the free kick. Stands there just forward of the defensive edge of the centre square in the bright sunshine. Heads out towards Lever, who marks despite the encroaching Allen. Lever goes to ground. He bounces up quickly for Melbourne. Just shy of centre wing. In the shadows of the stands, he'll kick towards right half forward for Melbourne. McDonald went up, couldn't mark. Chance for Fritsch. Worked it out to Sparrow. Hand pass inboard to McDonald. Threw it on the boot. Wobbly kick inside forward 50. Barris was there. Plays on immediately to Gaff. To Cole by hand. Slick from the Eagles. Comes again to Cully. Got it from Petreski-Seaton. Tried to move it forward to Cole. Getting in there. Langdon tried to knock it out. Cole got it a second time. Moved it on to Edwards. Now to Kelly. Quickly towards Allen, who marks it left half forward for West Coast.
Promising build-up from the Eagles. Just slowed momentarily at least. Now Allen punches a kick in low to the pocket. It'll bounce on its journey to Darling. Gathers it on the second bounce. Centering kick is clever and getting there just in time. To take the mark for the Eagles is Long. And that was a good little chip pass inboard from Darling. Noah Long to have a shot for the Eagles first.
What I'm impressed with is that Eagles haven't gone into their shell from last week. I mentioned it at the start of the call. They move the ball quickly. They want to move it on at all costs, and that's exactly what they've started to do today. And it's paved the way for this opportunity. Which fantastic ball movement.
So Noah Long, one career goal so far from 40 metres out. Slight angle to the left. Gives the Eagles their first goal. It's taken 14 minutes in the first term here at Perth Stadium, but they're on the board. 1-1-7. Melbourne at 2-1-13. You listen to Grandson AFL. Bo McDonald and Cara Antonio, your experts.
It was a smart kick by Oscar Allen. He didn't go in long and high where Melbourne had the extra back. He went to Jack Darling, but even though he missed him, Darling had enough time to recover and then also do the team thing and centre it into the middle to give him an opportunity at goal. And just looking at the contested possessions here, Tim Kelly's leading the way at the moment with 5, and I think that's just a real good mindset to what you said, Cara, about the Eagles just bringing that contested ball work as they did last week, not going back into their shell. Yeah, you might make a few mistakes, but I think I think that's the way to go.
The 18-year-old Noah Long, another one of West Coast's promising youngsters. Second goal of his career from the restart. And Rooyen won it down, but the umpire says we'll have it back. Throwing it off, and Rooyen goes again, wins it down against Waterman. Came to Viney, tried to shovel it backwards. Gaff had it for a second, then had to just slap it forward by hand. Picked up by Edwards, he lost it. Oliver, hand passed over his head through traffic. Petreski-Seaton tries to dive on it, tapped it between the legs of Gaff, going in hard. It comes again to Viney, then to Oliver. Hand pass forward only as far as Hunt. Eagles have it again through Ginby. Clever, moved it short to Waterman on the logo. Not a great kick. It bounces towards left half forward. Brayshaw is there to mop up. Hand pass put May under pressure, could only tap it forward. It's a throw from May. The Eagles will take the advantage. Gaff puts it inside forward 50. Coming out, Allen couldn't mark it cleanly at his bootstraps. Tried to work it on again. Working in there, Hewitt dives on top of the football. Tackled by the opposite eights in Lever, who takes him to ground. Eagles fans wanted high. Umpire says no, we'll ball it up inside West Coast forward 50. Melbourne 2-1-13. The Eagles 1-1-7. 16 gone in the first.
Rucks go at it. Van Rooyen brings it to ground. Quick hand pass from Hewitt though. Now back to Cully. Left foot snap well wide. Out of bounds on the full. Plenty of energy though from the Eagles early on. Melbourne kicked a goal inside a minute. There would have been concerns at that time for Eagles fans, but the home side has settled quite well. They trail by just a goal as Hibbard gets the free kick. And kicks for distance down the line. Big pack flying with Barras leaping the highest. Hoff had it for a moment. Now Edwards Out the back door to Jones. He goes further backwards to Waterman, who retreats with his kick to Duggan. Wants to dodge around an opponent. It's 2 Eagles at half forward. The kick finds Gaff. 55 out, sets it up to the goal square. Allen working hard to get to the contest. It skips past him. And in the nick of time, McVie. But there's a hold. A hold on Oscar Allen. It was going to be a rush behind, but instead Oscar Allen will have a shot from inside 10 metres.
They're setting up really well behind the ball, West Coast, and they've had a number of re-entries. They're currently +4 with inside 50s, and they've had a number of really good looks, just some poor skill execution going in. So Oscar Allen got in a really good position and earned himself the free kick.
He's in the left forward pocket. It's a tight angle, but he can step out and hook it back. Should make no mistake. And Allen locks things up. 17 minutes into the first quarter. It's 2-1, 13 apiece. The Demons with the first 2 goals. The Eagles replying with 2 of their own.
It was certainly not rebounding out of the Eagles forward 50 quickly, so they're able to keep the pressure. And I think just that like you said, Carl, their ball movement through that half forward part of the ground, they're not just blazing away. They've had to go wide a fair few times, but that's okay. They've just kept possession and actually made Melbourne defend. But like we said, it's just going to be it's going to be full-quarter effort today for the Eagles if they can stay with the Demons.
Terrific effort so far, and the significantly quicker ball movement than even the AFL was able to see in the first round or two, and certainly throughout last year. West Coast drawing level, 13 points apiece. Not a great bounce from the umpire. It'll have to come back. Grundy up against Williams. Second recall bounce today. Grundy has to pause, taps it down, trying to bustle his way through. Rivers got a hand pass out of traffic. Jones is there to mop up for West Coast. To Jimby, to Cully, to Jones again. Tackled by Melbourne. Just on the commentary edge of the centre square. A little bit shy of halfway. Ball up the call, thrown aloft. One down by Grundy, straight to Viney. Clever, kick inside 450. Yo's out and marks defensively. Read it well, Elliot Yeo, back in the side this week for the West Coast Eagles. He's a key member of this squad, and he takes the mark. 90 minutes gone in the first term, 2-1, 13 apiece between the Eagles and the Demons.
Yeo turns it over on the kick. May with the intercept mark just forward of the wing. Dangerous inboard kick, but it finds its target. Cully coming across late. Couldn't get there in front of Viney, who gets himself to his feet quickly. Long kick towards full forward once more. Yeo just edged underneath it. Good body work from McDonald. Had the size advantage on Yeo. Just leant into him a little bit and then takes the mark above his eyes. Has a chance to kick his second.
Good corridor switch kick there from May to open up the ground, and then Cully, just the inexperience. Viney was always going to turn on his left side and get it in deep to McDonald.
25 out, straight in front. Tom McDonald kicks his second. And Melbourne take the lead once more. 3-1-19. They lead West Coast 2-1-13. You're listening to Grandstand AFL from Perth Stadium.
Well, that's what you want if you're the D's. Elliot Yeo in his first game back. We know the Eagles want him to run and use the ball, but if you can make him defend, get a couple of goals like that, just changes the mindset a little bit. So it's been good, Tom McDonald, to start.
Good use of body work as well. Just a little nudge at the right time. Nothing in that. Great overhead mark.
Coming back into the team this week after being omitted. Their win over Sydney. 3 disposals, 2 marks, 2 goals. Tom McDonald. Melbourne back in front. They lead by 6 as we just head into time on in the opening term. With a bounce from the umpire. Williams wins it against Grundy. Out though. Slapping it forward. Rivers only as far as Jones. Jones for the Eagles to Ginby. Hands it off to Clark. Sweeps a hand pass to Petreski-Seaton. West Coast with it on centre wing. Kicks around the body. Sliding out Waterman. Can't quite control it. Clark's done well. Picked it up. Gave it back to Jones. Inside forward 50 for the Eagles. Unable to get there was Hewitt. Melbourne tried to rebound. Oh, Sparrow handed it straight off to Waterman. Kicks around the body. Allen goes to ground against May. It's right in the goal square for West Coast. May puts himself over the top of the football. They're caught. Peeling for holding the ball. I thought they were about to call it. The umpires. No, it's a ball up. Still in the goal square for West Coast.
Umpire calls for nominations. No one up for the Eagles. So Grundy takes clean possession. just scrubbers a kick about 3 metres along the ground, straight to Long. Couldn't quite handle it. Rivers with a hand pass. Gets it back again. Clearing kick to half-back, and Viney takes the mark. But the umpire spotted a push by McDonald on Williams. So Williams with the free kick. McDonald stands the mark 51 metres out, and Williams is going back with every intention to have a shot on goal.
He's got another tough task today. You mentioned at the start of the call, Bo. It was up against Darcy last week and Grundy this week, but if he can put this one through, it'll do dividends.
He decides not to have a shot in the end. Sets it up to the top of the goal square. Grundy with the big fist. Towards the pocket. Clark, a little fumble. And that allows Neil Bullen to come in and make the tackle, escorting him over the line for a boundary throw in left forward pocket. Farmer Freeway end. That's the end the Eagles are attacking in this first quarter. They trail by a goal.
Ball spun back in. Grundy, went off the back of Petreski. Seaton wasn't watching it. Spilled towards the boundary line. Sparrow had it knocked out of his hands by Kelly. It's over for a boundary throw-in.
Have they changed that rule? I've seen that paid a free kick before because you're not supposed to contest the ruck.
He certainly wasn't contesting it. Had no idea about it, Petreski Seaton. I guess they'd suggest maybe the boundary umpire's throw was a little bit short. Throwing in again. Grundy taps it back into the corridor. That was dangerous, but it worked out okay. Neil Bullen got to it. Hand pass to no one in particular. Players will pile in over this. It's been held in. Grundy doing the tackling. He wrapped up Clark, who climbs up off the deck. Still inside West Coast forward 50. Throwing aloft again. Grundy took clean possession. Got a kick around the body as far as Viney, who's been paid the mark. It was short, probably just far enough. He steps off his line, so he's told to play on. He'll move it short to Bowie, who that wasn't short, or wasn't long enough to be a mark. Has to move it on quickly. Comes forward again. This is Rivers. Got taken high. Scrappy bit of play, but it's ended up with the Demons having it at right half back as Rivers goes inboard with the foot pass to Lever, goes right back inside his defensive 50. The Demons by 6 points, 24 gone in the first.
Hibbert takes the mark and then sends it further afield to May with a long kick. May at left half back. Dual All-Australian, long towards half forward. Van Rooyen given a shove. There was also a hold to Fritsch. So Fritsch will get the free kick just short of left half forward. Melbourne building down that southern wing. Kick from Fritsch was touched by the man on the mark. Yo comes through to give a hand pass to Duggan. Outside of the boot, skids it along the ground, straight into the shins of May, who accidentally soccers it over the line. They have a free kick to West Coast for out of bounds on the full. It's actually Duggan who kicked it into May's shins, who gets the free kick. Not much on offer, so he'll have to kick to a contest. Sends it long and low in the Allen direction. Off hands, it gets to the back of the pack. McVie thinks about a hand pass to Grundy, just tries to straighten up instead himself, and then kicks to the leading Fritsch, working hard back towards half-back to take the mark. And now Fritsch can send it longer. Half forward is where this ball will land. Yo leaping in the air, and it actually bounces off his head in the end. Through comes Duggan, tackled by Pickett. They wrestle towards the boundary, and the boundary umpire's whistle sounds. We're going to throw in Melbourne by a goal. Nearly 25 minutes gone in the first quarter.
Earlier today, the Bombers by 13 over GWS. Grandstand AFL on ABC Radio, Sport Digital, and now streaming on the ABC Listen app. Throwing in again. Grundy won it down. Slapped forward by Viney towards left half forward. Fritsch tried to work it away. Bursting through to gather the football. Hunt for the Eagles. Kick towards the outer wing. Allen brought it to ground. Bowie was there to pick it up for the Melbourne Footy Club. Comes then towards Hunter from May, and Hunter's kick is chopped off. Marking defensively at right half back is Williams. The orange boots, he goes back to stand with the 50s on the ground. Right half back, he kicks to the sunshine on the outer wing. May went up, so to Allen. Spills down off hands and goes to Hunter. Sweepy hand pass back for Melbourne to Lever. He's got it at left half back. Kicks the Demons towards left half forward. And Royan went up, couldn't mark it, spills onto the deck. Trying to work it away was Williams. Might have had his hand kicked in the process. Yo eventually will pick it up. Breaks one tackle, gets past a second, kicks towards centre wing, up and marking's Waterman.
Has a player coming by in Kelly, sends the hand pass in that direction. Kelly can go with a bit of a dash, has a bounce, crosses 50, and then a poor kick. Skids away towards the boundary line in the right forward pocket. They will get a boundary throw in. Kelly saw the goals right in front of his eyes and got a bit excited. It'll be a boundary throw-in instead. Boundary umpire about 10 metres around from the right-hand upright. Tosses it back into play. Grundy taken high by Waterman. We'll get the free kick. Advantage paid to Petrarca. Sends the kick towards half-back. Chandler drops the mark. Gives Williams an opportunity to pick up the loose footy. Hands it off to Hunt. High up and under with his kick. It has travelled 15. Will be paid a mark if someone can hang on to it. Hibbert gets the fist to the footy, but sprawling onto the ground was Waterman. And he was pushed out of it illegally, according to the umpire. And now Jake Waterman can have a shot for goal. Pretty much right on 50 metres. 45-degree angle right of centre.
It's been a pretty even contest across the ground. We mentioned it before, the West Coast Eagles have had a lot more inside forward 50s, just haven't been able to capitalise on their opportunities. So Waterman has the opportunity here to really even up this playing field, which is probably where it's at the moment.
Kicked 4 goals on this ground a couple of weeks ago against the Giants. An outstanding performance. He'll kick from the logo on the 50-metre arc towards the Farmer Freeway end. Sends it goalward. It's on target. Lever leaps. May got up there as well. And the umpire says May got a fingertip to it. So behind to West Coast. They're now 2-2. Melbourne are 3-1.
It was close though, as West Coast are able to stop the foray forward from Melbourne. Clark, who's been busy getting a fist to the football and punching it over the boundary line at right half forward. Very close. Seeing a replay a moment ago. May certainly got a fingertip on it, but talking centimetres. The ball would have crossed the line as it came down from the restart to Viney, to Grundy. Clark again got in the way of Oler and sees it over the boundary line. Plenty to like about Greg Clark. Finished last year with problems to his AC joint. Needed surgery on the shoulder, but was promising before that. Grundy wins it down, only as far as Hunter. Went short and kicked towards the outer side. Cosy Pickett picks it up from the logo, spots a player free. Fritsch at left half forward. There's 2 Demons at full forward. It carries the first. Spargo's at the back. He kicks the goal. Went over the top of Petty. No problems for Spargo to gather and to thump it in to the grandstand at the city end of the ground. The Demons have got their 4th, 4-1-25 to West Coast 2-2-14. 29 gone in the opening term on Grandstand AFL, ABC Radio, Sport Digital and streaming on the ABC Listen app.
Yeah, well, we saw the stoppage down on the Eagles half-forward line, and the Demons forwards, they set short right up close to the stoppage and just left all the space over the back. And once the ball went there, they just run hard and they just really outnumbered West Coast back into that 50, and Spargo got the goal. So you have to be really conscious about letting that ball over the back. Usually you've got a McGovern or someone sitting there reading the play, but they're playing Jones nice and high, trying to get his run when they get the ball. So he's just got to sort of sum up, are we attacking or are we defending?
8 inside 50s to Melbourne and 4 goals from those 8 entries. Grundy wins the tap, hoping for Petrarca, goes through his legs. Now Kelly with the clearance. Shanks the kick, out onto the wing. Hewitt leads in the race, hand pass away to Clark, back to Hewitt. Lays it off now to Jones. Clever little left foot pass. Measured it nicely to Kelly, who will slow things down for a moment. All the options up forward are matched up. So Kelly now uses his full allocation of time and then sends it long, hoping for Allen from behind May. Ball falls to the front. Gaff takes it. His hand pass was blocked. Long's hand pass goes nowhere. Oliver almost hand passes to himself. Now Rivers dives in to apply a tackle. And there'll be a ball up 40 metres out from goal in the shadows of the grandstand. Melbourne by 11 points. Gone past 30 minutes here in the first term.
Umpire puts the ball aloft. Grundy got rid of Darling, just threw him out of the way. Umpire said it was okay. Put the ball on the boot. Kicks towards centre wing. Commentary side. It's over the boundary line for a throw-in. Duggan up against McDonald. Now there's a mismatch in height. Duggan's done well though, gone in front. He actually points at McDonald as if to say, I'm not sure I should be the player standing next to him. He won't be. Shuffles around to go to Neil Bullen. Thrown back in. Grundy, front position, won it down against Williams, but it spills to Gaff. A hurried kick towards left half forward. Will spin past Darling, who does well. Tapped it to his own advantage. Got away from Lever. got a hand pass in the direction of Hewitt, couldn't take it cleanly. West gathered it, hand passed over the shoulder, bounced away from Long. The Demons should be able to mop up. They get it back through Lever. And then on in turn to Langdon, tap back in again through Sparrow. Unable to take it cleanly was Petrarca. It came to Oliver. Sweeps the hand pass forward. Well done. They got out of real strife to Langdon. They move it to Neil Bullon on centre wing.
Chips it low, down the line to McDonald. Melbourne have looked so dangerous when they move this ball quickly. McDonald now looking for Fritz. Superb kick. There were two Eagles defenders down there guarding space, but McDonald put it into the little hole and asked Fritz to come forward and take the mark. He's done just that, and we'll have a shot after the siren here at quarter time.
Just far too fast to react there, Melbourne. They run in waves and numbers, and West Coast were out of position, especially in their D50, and that kick by McDonald just invited Fritz to lead to it, didn't it?
The old invitational kick, it was magnificent.
So Bailey Fritz kicked the first goal of the game inside a minute from pretty much the same blade of grass that he'll be kicking from here. 35 metres out, slight angle to the right. He also becomes a multiple goal kicker. 2 to Fritz, and the D's lead it by 17 points at quarter time, despite the best efforts of the Eagles. 5-1-31. The Eagles are 2-2-14.
The goal kickers, as you heard, 2 to McDonald, 2 to Fritz. The single for the Demons coming from the boot of Charlie Spargo. And that third goal in a row broke the trend of Melbourne with 2, West Coast with 2. Melbourne had kicked 2 and then made it 3 in a row as we hit quarter time. For West Coast, their 2 goal kickers, Oscar Allen and Noah Long. ABC Radio, ABC Sport Digital, and now streaming on the ABC Listen app. You can always look for the AFL button. This is Grandstand AFL.
Hello, I'm Patrick Stack, and if you like great stories and you enjoy sport, then I reckon you need ABC Sport Daily in your life.
If you're that good, we'll look after you, and we want our players to retire rich.
He says he's, enjoying being patted on the back rather than being booted out of the country.
I think there are a lot of fans up in Brisbane that actually hate the Broncos.
Hysterical, really. And, as I said, they're crybabies.
Can you own colours, Stacky?
It's your daily sports conversation, and it's called ABC Sport Daily. Find us on the ABC Listen app.
Grandstand AFL.
Now streaming every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Ball just trickles inside 50. Hand pass from Spargo. Sets up Langdon. Up against the boundary. 40 out. Clever centering ball. There's 3 Demons queuing up for this one. And the 2 smaller players leave it for Fritz, who slides in and marks 25 out. Slight angle. Virtually directly in front. So Bailey Fritz to open the scoring here this afternoon. He opens the scoring with a goal. The Demons on the board inside 75 seconds here at Perth Stadium. Ruckman wrestle. Grundy gets a second crack. Shanks the kick but gains 20 metres. Finds Pickett on the bounce, who burns away. A bit of speed on the turn. Kicks towards full forward and stretching and marking. A wonderful grab by McDonald. His kicking for goal is normally very reliable, and this never looked like missing. Melbourne have the first 2 on the board. Duggan wants to dodge around an opponent. It's 2 Eagles at half forward. The kick finds Gap. 55 out, sets it up to the goal square. Allen working hard to get to the contest. It skips past him, but there's a hold. A hold on Oscar Allen. It was going to be a rush behind, but instead Oscar Allen will have a shot from inside 10 metres. He's in the left forward pocket. It's a tight angle, but he can step out and hook it back. Should make no mistake. And Allen locks things up.
Grundy wins it down only as far as Hunter. Short towards the outer side. Rocky Pickett picks it up from the logo, spots a player free. Fritch at left half forward. There's 2 Demons at full forward. It carries the first. Spargo's at the back. He kicks the goal. The Demons have got their 4th.
The 2023 AFL season.
On radio,
ABC Sport Digital.
and now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
So it's Melbourne 5-1-31 to West Coast 2-2-14 here at Perth Stadium. Earlier today at the Docklands, the Bombers by 13 points over GWS. Essendon 11-22-88 to the Giants 11-9-75. Many of us, particularly me, were expecting this to be lopsided, but it's been a genuine contest for a fair chunk of that opening term. What have you made of it? Our experts today on Grandstand AFL, Bo McDonald and Cara Antonio.
Yeah, well, I've been really impressed with how the Eagles have started. They've carried that momentum on from last week against the Dockers. Just looking at some of the stats, they're +10 in ground balls, so they're working hard on the ground. They're plus 11 in uncontested possession, so they're working hard to the outside, and they're obviously winning the inside 50 count. They're just lacking little polish going in, and that mid-forward connection. They've had a number of really good looks. Tim Kelly especially, he's had your 12 touches and a couple of inside forward 50s, but just hasn't been able to hit a target. So for me, the marks inside forward 50, West Coast have only been able to take the one, whereas the Ds, they're able to, I suppose, pressure enough in that middle corridor bit, slingshot it back, and they've had 4 marks inside forward 50. So they've had much more polish down the other end, kicking the 5 goals, 1 to, unfortunately, the West Coast Eagles only the 2 goals too.
Yeah, you can see that they're trying to get the ball in Jones's hands off halfback. He's had 8 disposals. He's only had 1 inside 50, but you like the way that they're being aggressive off halfback. But where that can get you if you don't get your mechanisms right is going back the other way. If they can be a little bit more polished playing forward, I think they've just got to get someone to cover for Jones when he goes, whether it's a ringer or half forward getting up high or whatever mechanism it is that you want to use. I think they've still got to keep going with it because they look much better, and like you said, Carl, just with a little bit more polish, they could have 2 or 3 more goals on the board and be even closer within this match. I think it's a great shout out to Bailey Williams to the way he rucked that first quarter. It's Grundy didn't really have an influence on the game whatsoever, and that's what you'd be looking for if you were Adam Simpson from Bailey Williams.
Stats to quarter time. West Coast 101 possessions, Melbourne 93. Interestingly, for the Eagles, 50 kicks, 51 handballs. Melbourne 55 kicks, 38 handballs. As a result, Melbourne lead the marks. They're plus 7 in that category. The inside 50s, West Coast lead that 13-9. Hitouts are 11-3 in favour of Melbourne. And the tackles are 18-11 in Melbourne's favour as well. Leading possession winners, firstly for our leaders, the Ds. Rivers with 9 possessions, Hunter 7, Fritsch, Oliver, May, Grundy and Viney 6 possessions each. While for West Coast, Tim Kelly 12 touches, 5 inside 50s as well for Tim Kelly. Gaff's had 9 possessions, Jones 8. And Jaden Hunt against his old side, 7 possessions in the first quarter.
On the text line, 0437 774 774. Love to hear from you as always, wherever you're listening. M from Melbourne, happy Easter to you all. I'm cringing listening to this game. I do hope West Coast are able to play with some more courage. It's difficult for a depleted side. They've shown plenty of that so far, M. And to Trev from Kahuna in Victoria, you guys are the best the ABC has. Enjoying the footy commentary. Thanks very much. Wherever you happen to be, give us a text, 0437 774 774. Second quarter underway. Grundy had to wait, won it down into a traffic. Sparrow had it, was tackled, ball up the call. Kelly doing the defensive work for the Eagles. Again, Grundy wins the tap. Oliver got hands to it, was tackled again by Jimby. Spilled out the side, coming towards the centre circles, and there was Jones for the Eagles. Threw it on the boot, kicks towards left half forward. Would stay in play, racing past it, Waterman, and then Levers content to sit over the boundary line for a throw-in. West Coast heading to the city end, or to the right of our broadcast position in this, the second term. Melbourne to the Farmer Freeway end, the left of where we sit on the northern wing. Boundary umpire unfurls. Grundy got rid of Williams. Has he done it illegally? He has. Williams will get the free kick. Has it at left half forward. Too far out for him to score. Maybe 65 from goal. Puts it into the left forward pocket. Didn't have quite enough on the kick as he would have hoped. No mark taken. Comes down eventually to Kelly. Kicks around the body. Allen tries to get out there at full forward. Can't. Ball there still to be won. It came through Bowie, then to Neil. Bourne was tackled. Just got a hand pass out. McVie on the ground. Hand pass to Brayshaw. Set upon immediately. It's been locked in. Ball up the call. Eagles good pressure. And Long continues to impress this youngster, the small forward inside attacking 50.
Melbourne pretty keen to handball the way out of trouble in defence. The Eagles forwards have been onto that today. We'll get a secondary ball up 50 metres out from goal. Last man to his feet. Handing the ball back to the umpire, Andrew Gaff. Grundy and Williams. Grundy wins it to the front. Gaff's there again, tackled by Oliver, the third bowler. Brodie Grundy. Still getting used to seeing him in anything other than black and white stripes. Game 4 for Melbourne. Reaches at this one, can't quite get to it. Kelly comes through. Petrovski-Seaton becomes the tackler. They've gained about 3 metres. We'll get another ball up just inside the attacking 50 now. It's Melbourne by 17 points. 2 minutes in the quarter, number 2.
Another ruck with a telling tap down to Cozzy Pickett. Ran straight into trouble, but somehow broke free of the Kelly tackle. Eagles fans wanted holding the ball. Still there to be won. Gathering it, Neil Bullen tries to wrestle his way through. No Pryor as he's tackled by Gaff. Ball up again. Right half forward for West Coast. Throwing up into the air. Grundy palms it down. Clearing kick from Hibbard for Melbourne towards centre wing. 2-on-2 battle. Omar taken. The back. Petty. Got a hand pass by to Petrarca. Racing by. 1-on-1 battle inside forward 50. Barris got a fist to the footy in front of Fritsch. Trying to get to it then was Hunt. Elects to soccer it away. It'll sit up there though for McVeigh. McVeigh has it. He looks to pop it inside the right forward pocket. Didn't have enough on it. Hunt marks defensively for West Coast in the sunshine.
Comes inboard with a chip pass to Hewitt. And the Eagles will slow things down. Coming past for the hand pass is Jones. He'll send it back out wide. And find Elliot Yeo. Last game, round 16 last year against Richmond. Played only 5 games in 2022. And through a whole string of injuries. Now a long kick down the line. Clears the wing position. Swooping through McVeigh. Can't take clean possession. Eventually he does. Hooks onto his right boot. Good long kick. Chandler in front of his opponent. Can't take it on the chest. Jones takes the crumbs on the wing. Hand pass to Duggan. Another one to Hunt. And then a poor kick. Hits Grundy on the chest, and Grundy can rebound quickly. There's 2 Ds, and Petrarca will get it at half forward.
Petrarca gathers quickly, sends it inside forward 50. Wanted Van Rooyen, couldn't get to it. One down by Hearn, spilled out the side to Langdon, looks to run it towards goal. He dribbles across the face and then trickles over the behind line. That would have been something. Minor score, or are they going to review this as well? Has it hit the post? That's the behind post, I mean, the left-hand side. I reckon it has. The first angle I saw. Second angle is of no use whatsoever because the goalpost is in the way. So you can't see the behind post for the goalpost.
Yeah, that's come off, I think.
But the way that I think the ball sort of kicks... Looks like it has hit the very bottom of the post. So here we go. Just to make it all official. It's no score. This time though, it will be a throw-in. Hard up against the left-hand behind post, deep inside Melbourne's forward 50. 5-1-31 the Demons, 2-2-14 the Eagles. 5 gone in the second term on Grandstand AFL, thanks to ABC Sport.
So throw in right in front of the goals for the Demons. Williams against Van Rooyen. Van Rooyen wins it down, hoping for Oliver. Bounces back to Van Rooyen. Little hand pass, can't get it to Neil Bullen. Petrarca had a crack. Now Gaff, his kick goes nowhere. Hot footy to be won. Petrevski-Seaton tried to dive forward like a rugby player at the try line. Comes out to Brayshaw, 50 out from goal now. Hand passes off to McVeigh. He slips over and loses the footy and accidentally was taken high. Hewitt almost collapsed onto his head. It'll be a free kick to McVeigh. Wheels away quickly, sets it up to the top of the goal square. Petty is deep, can't take the mark. Roving at the front, Chandler wants to emerge with the footy. Hand pass out the back door to Fritsch. He's got a couple, hooks across the shoulder for his third. Eagles fans don't like it. The free kick was there, it was totally accidental. A bit of hard work from Melbourne, but it ends up in their 6th goal, and half of them being kicked by Bailey Fritsch. 6-1-37 Melbourne. Lead West Coast 2-2-14. 5 minutes played in the second quarter here at Perth Stadium.
Well, again, as we mentioned throughout that first quarter, the Eagles have come to play. They're +6 in tackles. Their energy's high, and unfortunately just a little accidental free kick there opened up the C, and that's the Melbourne forward line C. Great deep entry, good turn up from their smalls, and Fritz hits the scoreboard again for his third.
On the text line, 0437 774 774. A shout out to Goodsy, to Gibber, to Hutto, driving into hinterlands of Seal Rocks. Listening in to Grandstand AFL. Happy Easter to you and to yours. Melbourne stretch their lead again. It's Grundy. Wins it. Got a hand pass out the back to Petrarca for the Demons. To Oliver. Popped it over the top for Petrarca to run onto. Ugly kick from the logo. It works out perfectly to Chandler. Running by, it comes to Sparrow, kicks towards full forward. Van Rooyen brought it to ground. Fritsch had it go between his legs, turned, got a hand pass back to Sparrow. Tackled there by Hearn. It's locked in. Ball up the call. Between centre half forward and full forward for the Demons. Throwing aloft. The back, Petty won it down. Sparrow threw it on the boot for Melbourne towards full forward. Barris was able to get out there and knock it to the ground. Williams got it out to Kelly for West Coast, who does well. The clearing kick finds Darling, who marks it right half back in the shade.
Mr. Switch goes right across the ground, hangs in the air a while, and Melbourne win it. The spoil made by Langdon. The crumbs come to Bowie. He hands it back to Langdon. Can run towards 70 metres out from goal. Stops. Not sure where to go. He's actually run a long way now. Hand passes back to Bowie. Forced to kick across the body towards full forward. Barras makes the spoil. Hearn waiting down. Takes the crumbs away. And they combine nicely towards Clark, who clears with a kick that's well marked. And Noah Long takes a good contested grab at half-back. Wants to play on. Puts himself into some pressure. They've worked it out okay. Hoff on the wing. Has to do the full 360 to evade an opponent, and then kicks high, hoping for Allen, who circles around and marks it left half forward.
Allen pauses and then sends it towards full forward. He wants Darling. Couldn't quite get to it. Ball on the ground by the Demons. Gaff going back. Lost his footing. Tries to drag it back in. Gets some support there from West. Out the side, Cully. Couldn't pick it up. Slapped it between his legs. Went to Hunt for the Eagles. They're 50 out from goal as West gathers again. He's tackled. Lost it. Hunt moved it on quickly. Long range shot at goal. Misses to the left-hand side. It wasn't far away for the West Coast Eagles from the boot of Clark. But a minor score. 6-1-37 the Demons, 2-3-15 the Eagles, 9 gone in the second.
Move it back in quickly, and they've worked it to Langdon at half-back already. Owning that southern side wing, he gives a hand pass over the top to Grundy. Wants players to present, decides to hand pass to Spargo. Goes all the way back now with his hand pass. Langdon's kick inboard is intercepted by Allen. The Eagles forward 50's open. There's not too many options there though. Kick from Allen wasn't good. Fumble though. Opens the door for Darling. He's well tackled. He's caught holding the ball.
That was a goal-saving tackle. That was certainly the Eagles were out there, and to be able to not let Darling get that handball out, save the goal there. It was a terrific tackle by Lever.
Jake Lever, the man, hand passes to Rivers. He sends a long kick out wide, finding the safety of McDonald, who can hand pass down the line to Viney on the wing.
Viney on a run. Oh, ran into trouble. Got tackled by Edwards. Just got the hand pass out. Hunter's able to gather. Ducked out of the attempted tackle. Well done against Jones. It came to Oliver. Moved it to Viney. Puts the Demons into the left forward pocket. Front position. Pickett. He's up and marking. It's a tight angle though. He'll start less than a metre in from the boundary in the left forward pocket. He'll be putting boot to ball from 45 out. Oh, he plays on. Now he's going to have to snap around the body. Has it got the carry? Not quite the accuracy. It misses to the left-hand side. He thought about going short to a teammate, then got told to play on and then realised he had to get boot to ball. 6-2-38 the Demons. 2-3-15 the Eagles. 11 gone in the second on Grandstand AFL.
Nice kick in from Hearn, straight up the middle, finds Hunt, who's got some space. Takes off with a bounce. Hand pass out to Long, back to Hunt through the centre square. Off to Williams, stops and props and now kicks towards full forward. At the back is West. Ball knocked away from him. Again, the Melbourne defenders are good in that contest, but on the way out, under pressure, they lose it. Gaff, his hand pass straight to Lever. Lever slung in the tackle, turns the footy over again. Comes to Hunt for a third occasion. Little chip pass, kicks it to an ex-teammate. Lever takes a defensive mark. Hand pass away to Rivers. Off by hand to Grundy. Back to Rivers once more, who sends it wide, and Hunter takes the mark on the wing.
Here is Hunter, plenty of space to work with. Finds Spargo, who marks on his chest. Right beneath our broadcast position. You're on the northern wing. Pauses to allow players to run forward. Now he sends it with the right into the forward pocket. Barris front position against Van Rooyen. Cully tries to gather. Van Rooyen on the ground, shoveled it back. Hunter tried to get there, couldn't. Picked up by Jones. Pickett tackles him. Hunter tries to lend support. Umpire is going to ball it up just as the hand pass was able to come away. Throw it aloft, 50 out from Melbourne's goal. Grundy won it down to Oliver, threw it on the boot. Then Rooyen is up. It's enough to be paid a mark. It's an angle to the left, a slight angle to the left. He'll be putting boot to ball from in line with the left-hand goalpost. and from about 50 out.
That's just the difference between good and great players there. Clayton Oliver read the tap off Grundy, just the one palm down to his boot, and it's good forward proactiveness, playing in front, read that ball really well.
The 19-year-old, 3 goals in his debut game, in his second match in the AFL. His kick is from 50. It's out to the right-hand side. It's a minor score. 6-3, the Demons. They're 39. The Eagles are 2-3-15. 13 gone in the second term.
I think Melbourne's runs really picked up. The last couple of turnovers, you've looked up and there's 2 or 3 Demons goal side straight away. It sort of hasn't happened all game, but you can just see their run just starting to get on top.
Let's check in with the cash down the boundary.
Poor Noah Long is absolutely gassed and tried to come off to the bench, but had to be sent back out there because it just wasn't his time for the rotation.
Back into play from Hearn, long to the wing. Darling gets a kick towards half forward. It's all Melbourne here, though. Hand pass from Petty, finds Oliver, shows the footy to a couple of opponents, then dashes away. Sends his kick in the direction of Van Rooyen again. Wins the ground ball in the end. His hand pass goes straight to Darling. Nothing much developing from his own handball, and then Edwards carries it over the line for a boundary thrown right beneath our broadcast position.
You right down there, Akash? Do we need to get some cough lozenges down to you or something? You okay? Some water?
I'm okay, thank you.
That's all right.
Sounded a bit gassed himself.
Yeah. Got to look after your staff downstairs. Throwing in again. Waterman didn't quite get the tap he would have wanted. Oliver trying to work it forward to Neil Bullen. Picked up by Viney, right up against the boundary line. He's taken it over. It's not even like it's raining on you today, big fella, downstairs. No one's happier when you get to the ground and there's bright sunshine. You know this, Dave.
Oh, well.
I knew this about 15 years ago. I've no desire to know it again intimately. Thrown in once more. Waterman was up against Petty. Petty won it to ground for the Demons. Neil Bullen picked it up, surrounded by Eagles. Tried to just bustle his way through the middle of them. The umpire said that's not coming out of there. Didn't really have pride to get rid of it. Was set upon immediately. So it's thrown aloft again. Petty against Waterman. Won it down for the Demons. Straight to Gaff. Tackled by Neil Bullen. Let's do this all again. Dave Lindsay's with you on Grandstand AFL. Melbourne, though, at the moment, comfortable leaders in this second term. They're up by 24 points.
It's the 1 goal in the second quarter. Bailey Fritsch, his 3rd of the match. Again, the ball in dispute here at half forward. Hard one to be won. Eventually it's Oliver. Throws it on the boot towards full forward. Van Rooyen again in the contest. Sport away from him. Good defensive work by Hoff. Close to the boundary. 25 out. McDonald on hands and knees. A hand pass back to Hunter. And the ex-Bulldogs premiership player shoved over the line for a boundary throw in 40 metres out left forward pocket. 4 goals the lead to Melbourne. They've kicked the last 4 goals of the game. In the shadows of the grandstand at the Farmer Freeway end. Boundary umpire restarts play. Van Rooyen gets rid of Waterman, brings it to the front of the pack. Coming through, Petrarca tackled front on. Another stoppage just inside the arc. Christian Petrarca, relatively quiet for him, just 9 possessions so far.
The restart. Gaff tries to get a little kick away after both rucks failed to have a dominant tap. Oliver tries to emerge with it, surrounded by players. Slapped out by Gaff again. Came to Waterman. Hand pass was meant for Duggan. Pressure came. Neil Bullen wraps him up. Well tackled. No. Taken into the ground. Free kick goes against Neil Bullen. Duggan has it. He's carrying on a little bit too much with the tackle. Gave it to Gaff. Oh, the hand pass behind Duggan. Had to try and tap it to Gaff. Well, they've made a meal of this. The Eagles pick it, picks it up and then goes short. Not far enough to be a mark for McDonald. He stayed calm for a moment, looking to send it inboard to Sparrow, and then that was chopped off by Hunts. Not a great bit of play by either team. Now West Coast head towards the southern wing. Clark battles away against Langdon. Langdon might have held him. Umpire says play on. Ball up into the air to Petreski. Seaton going by his Yo. Hand pass over the top for Cole for the Eagles. Runs the hand pass along the ground. Wanted Young to get onto it. Viney crashes into him. Ball stayed alive through Yo. Works it inside forward 50. West has it held to him. Ball up will be the call. Desperate stuff from West Coast. The Eagles fans like what they're seeing as their team tries to move it forward quickly. They throw it aloft. Waterman wins it down in the tap to Long. Hand pass was meant to go inboard. Chopped off though by Bowie. Kick towards the outer side. McDonald marks for the Demons.
Having a good day, Tom McDonald. Kicks long towards centre half forward. He's spotted Chandler all by himself. Wants to move it on. He's run down from behind. Just got his toe to the footy towards half forward. Pickett, the great tackle. It's almost a chicken wing. He's got the arm behind the back, Edwards. Umpire says he didn't have prior opportunity. We'll get a ball up 50 metres out from the Melbourne goal.
Great pressure there. I think it was Cole put the pressure on. The Demons were out at the back.
Waterman arrives late, wins the tap. Down to Kelly. High tackle. 4 umpires out there. No one saw it. Saw it out here. Viney gets himself to his feet. Just politely hands the ball back to the umpire and asks the question. McDonald wins in the next ball up. Kelly tracking the footy. A little fumble. Viney dives in again. They've got it inside 50 here, Melbourne. Hoff with the clearing kick. Comes right off the outside of the boot. Hunter knocks it back towards Melbourne's goal. Now it comes out the back door to Brayshaw. Swings a hand pass back to McDonald. Dodging a couple of players. Sets it up for Pickett. And Pickett read it beautifully. Floating in from the side. Marks 25 out from goal, virtually directly in front.
Well, I'm not sure from our angle here, but I reckon Liam Duggan had to go there and had to put the body on the line and bring the ball to ground. He's not that type of player, but that's a concerning sign. As a senior player, you really just have to put your body on the line there and try and bring that ball to ground.
Yeah, you won't enjoy the replay there, Liam Duggan. Cozzy Pickett, 4 goals in round 1, suspended in that game. On his return today, the South Australian puts boots a ball from about 30 out and he's missed again. A couple of misses in this quarter for Cozzy Pickett. 6-4, plays 2-3. It's Melbourne by 25 points as we approach time on in the second quarter.
Eagles bring it away to the left back pocket. Duggan to Cole. Short again to Hunt. Beyond his defensive 50. Stands in the sunshine here in Perth. 23 degrees. Only a few clouds above us. Lovely afternoon to watch footy. Cole short again to Duggan. Looks to switch play. Back towards centre half back with a skipper today. Barris marks and steps around from Van Rooyen. Hand pass Petreski-Seton. Oh, he's in trouble. He's wrapped up. Just got a hand pass away. And Rooyen did well. Having to come back then was Edwards. Got it back to Barris. Moved it short towards Hoff, who goes down the line to centre wing to Kelly, who gets bumped over by Hunter after he'd taken the mark. And that's going to be 50 for Kelly.
Just undisciplined there. Didn't need to do that at all, Hunter. The D's are well and truly on top in this quarter, and Kelly can go back and get one back for the Eagles, a much-needed goal.
Certainly skillful enough. Congested forward 50. Kelly will back himself, you would think. He'll boot the ball from just outside 50. Slightly better than a 45-degree angle to the right. Here he goes. Kelly kicks on its way. Looked pretty good. We're right behind it. It carries over the goal line and ends a run of 4 unanswered majors from the Demons. A vital goal for West Coast. They've got their first of the term, their third of the game. Melbourne 6-4-40. West Coast 3-3-21. As we've just gone into time on in the second term. Grandstand AFL on ABC Radio, Sport Digital, and streaming on the ABC Listen app. Clint Wilden alongside Dave Lindsay in commentary. Our experts, Bo McDonald and Cara Antonio.
Well, the Eagles have been good. I mean, they're behind on the scoreboard, but they need to keep playing this pressure football. It's if we look at the inside 50s, the Eagles are 21 and the Melbourne Demons are 19, so they're getting the ball down there. They've just been slingshotted a couple of times, and it's this next 5 minutes is crucial for the Eagles just to make sure the Demons don't put any more on the board.
Umpire walks across to Bailey Williams. There's a warning for the 666 going against the Eagles. Tosses it in the air. Grundy wins again over the back looking for Petrarca. Didn't quite connect. Williams then slaps it into the shins of Grundy. Coming in off the wing, Edwards wins the footy for West Coast. High contact. It's going to come back. Edwards sent the kick towards attacking 50. Waterman's taken the mark. That's what the cheer is for. Those cheers will turn to boos now as the crowd starts to realise it's going to come all the way back to Edwards. Now he'll switch play to the southern side wing. Duggan all by himself takes the mark. Got some space to move. Wants to draw the player. Melbourne did it okay there. They've held it up. Yo receives and then kicks high to full forward. Williams is down there. Hands to the foot. He can't take the mark. His opposition ruckman clears in Grundy, but it's going to come straight back. Mark taken by Jones, a step or two inside 50, and he's going to go back and have a shot from similar range to Kelly, but this time at left half forward.
Nice deep entry there from Yo. Great contest, and then Jones was just set up really well as a half-backer and read that exceptionally well to go back and have a shot.
Possession number 12 for Jones from 51 out. He's wound up on the left. He's put it 5 rows back, and it hasn't got within 30 metres of goal. I don't think you could kick it there if you tried, but somehow Jones got it out there, and the margin remains 19 points in Melbourne's favour.
We've seen some genuine shots on goal slaughtered this season, and that's right up there. Not as close as some other misses, but yeah, not pretty. The Demons bring it away towards left half back. Hunter had it, gave it to Brayshaw. Spears the pass to Oliver, marks on the logo centre wing, sends it back to Hunter, who marks it left half forward. Now he'll pause. He'll get told to play on. I'm not sure where to go. Thought about going inboard. Instead, he'll put it into the left forward pocket. Big pack there through the hands of Yo at the back. Here's Jones again. His kick is better. It'll stay in play towards right half back. Petreski-Seaton went up, couldn't mark. Sparrow won it down, came to Hunter for the Demons. Back to McPhee, under pressure from Petreski-Seaton, who tapped it cleverly for Darling, who picks it up. And the Eagles, they're away down the commentary wing to West. Oh, he hasn't been able to keep it in play. Waterman was standing against the boundary line at right half forward. The kick went beyond him, out of bounds on the full. Free kick to the Demons. Lever moves it on, and it comes to Neil Bullen, who has it at left half back.
Thought about switching. Instead, he goes up the corridor. Kelly gets in the way of Petrarca. In comes Cole. There was some hanging on. Free kick's going to go the way of Petrarca. Norm Smith medalist on this ground decides not to kick it forward. Instead, a switching hand pass across the back edge of the centre circle to Brayshaw. He's kicked to the outer side and Spargo marks at half forward. Got McDonald in the pocket, decides to kick more centrally than that. Gaff gets in the way, takes on the bounce and then is well tackled. The Eagles managed to clear and they've done it well. Clark running into the sunshine at half back takes the mark. He'll come back inboard with his kick. And Duggan inside defensive 50 has it. Melbourne still by 19 points.
Earlier today, the Bombers by 13 against the Giants. Duggan on a bit of a run. Kicks towards the outer wing. Now he stretches. Almost took an intercept mark. Off the fingertips though and over for a boundary throw-in. Leading possession winners at the moment. Hunt's had it 16 times for the Eagles. So too is Tim Kelly. Gaff with 15 disposals. Oliver with 15 for the Demons. Rivers with 13. Ball's back into play. Up Williams. Won it down. Came to Oliver though. Short hand pass to McVie. Goes to Grundy, back to Oliver. Got away from West. Got the hand pass to McVie. Short hand pass to Petrarca. Umpire spot in a holding decision. It's going the way of the Demons. They take the advantage. Ugly kick from Viney. Knocked down by Jones. He slapped it forward to Neil Bullen. Petrarca runs by, receives the hand pass. Kicks in the direction of Fritsch. He gathers, kicks back into the corridor. Sat it up beautifully for Neil Bullen, who snaps the goal. The Demons with 7. 7-4-46. The Eagles 3-3-21. 25 gone in the second term. Grandstand AFL on ABC Radio, Sport Digital and streaming on the ABC Listen app. Our experts Cara Antonio and Beau McDonald.
I've never been a fan of that advantage rule when everyone stops and turns, and unfortunately, fortunately for Melbourne, it went the way of them, and they just kept the ball alive. Went inside forward 50. The pressure was coming from West Coast, and they just couldn't match the Demons' outfit down there. They kept the ball alive. A couple of really good turn-up opportunities for their smalls, and Fritz, nice centering ball there. Finished with a really great goal.
Only sport in the world, Cara, where we blow a whistle and then tell the players if you feel like it, we might just play on a bit here. You learn as a primary school kid to stop, look and listen with the whistle, don't you?
You do. Especially in that part of the ground. Yeah. It's a hard one.
And especially in that sort of case where we weren't really sure which way it might go. Blood rule here for Jinby, who's got a bit of blood coming from his knee. So Edwards comes onto the ground and takes his position in the centre square. Clayton Oliver will be his opponent. Oliver with 5 clearances already. He's up to 46 consecutive games with 5 clearances or more. That's the best in history. Next best ever is 28. Free kick in the middle, goes Viney's way. Advantage will be paid again. This was an obvious one though. Grundy takes advantage, kicks down the middle hoping for McDonald. But it clears his head and Yeo takes the mark. Eagles fans enjoying seeing Elliot Yeo back out there today. Flares the kick out wide to Kelly, and then a longer kick to the wing. Long is the target, uses the body on Brayshaw. Ball clears that pair, and now Brayshaw cleverly disguises his intent to get that one over the line for a throw-in. About 10 metres forward of centre wing for West Coast. They've kicked 1 goal in the second quarter. Melbourne have kicked 2, and as a result, the D's have stretched their quarter-time lead out to 25 points.
Spun in again. Williams against Grundy. Didn't reach them. Came off the back of Cully. Twice we've seen that happen today. Spilled to Kelly. Kicks inside forward 50. Petreski to it and flew. Couldn't mark. West tried to get a hand pass away. Umpires spotted a free kick. Coming back here for the Eagles. It's Connor West. He'll have it. You can have a shot. 45-degree angle to the right. He'll put boot to ball from 40 metres out.
Only very slight from Lever, I think it was. Connor West lucky because he went the fend off and Lever went the tackle and it just slipped over his shoulder, so rewarded with free kick.
Wasn't a lot in it with you, Cara. Connor West, we're right behind the kick. It doesn't deviate off the line. A terrific goal for Connor West. Just his 5th goal in what is now his 20th AFL game, his first of the season. One of the 7 players that came into this injury-hit Eagles outfit. And he puts his name on the goal kickers list. West Coast with their 4th. 4-3-27, still trailing the Demons, who are 7-4-46. 29 minutes gone in the second term. Clint Wilden alongside Dave Lindsay in commentary. And Cash Fodderars downstairs, our experts Cara Antonio and Beau McDonald.
Just really important when the Eagles are getting it inside forward 50 and they get an opportunity that they hit the scoreboard, and no matter how you get it, Connor West really good to go back. He did the hard work to get back there and support his teammates in the forward 50. To go back and hit the score was the most important thing there.
A couple of goals from free kicks for the Eagles and one from a 50-metre penalty today out of their 4. Centre bounce. Petty opposed to Williams this time. It comes out towards Sparrow. Hurry kick forward. Yeo in front of Petrarca. They bring it to ground. Neil Bullen applies a good tackle. Tom Cole hands the footy back to the umpire. A ball up. And that little bit of space between the front edge of the centre square and the 50-metre arc. The tap comes down to Edwards. Squeezes a kick into the middle of the ground. Lever. Hand pass to Brayshaw. At the back door he goes to Hibbard with his hand pass. Sends his kick out very wide to Hunter. Gathers it on the half volley. Hand pass back to Bowie. Little chip pass, a little too long for Neil Bullen, but over-committing was Cole, who missed on the spoil. Neil Bullen gives a hand pass forward now to Viney. 60 out, long kick to full forward, and again, the Melbourne forwards happy to come at the footy. Spargo marks, wants to play on, open goal square, snaps it through. 2 to Spargo, the 3rd multiple goal kicker for Melbourne so far this afternoon, and they stretch their lead back out again to 25 points, 8-4-52. They lead West Coast 4-3-27. We've gone beyond 30 minutes here in the second quarter at Perth Stadium.
Well, Tommy Cole would love his time again there just to be able to keep the ball in front. Once it got the over the back, it was off to the races for the D's. And it's really a killer for Adam Simpson that there's not long to go in this second quarter. The Eagles have been hanging in there. You know, to give the D's a goal in the last minute of the term is not ideal.
Back to it. Equal high lead of 25 points. Half-time not far away. 3/4 of the ground now in shade. Some bright sunshine above us from the restart. Petty against Williams, neither with a telling tap. Umpire sponsor free kick. A holding decision going the way of Kelly. He's got it in the centre circles. He'll turn. Puts it deep towards full forward. Eagles need a mark. It spills out off the back. Pack of players there. Hunter will get to it first. Tackled by Long. Oh, it's almost there on the goal line as it ricocheted away and just rushed through for a minor score. It's hit the right-hand goalpost, I think. Nonetheless, the score is the same. You can put one more on the Eagles tally. 4-4-28. The Demons still in front. 8-4, 52. 32 gone in the second.
Jake Bowie to kick it in. On his first 17 games of footy, he's 5-5 since then as he chips to the pocket for May. And that'll do us for the first half of football here at Perth Stadium. The D's by 17 points at quarter time. They're now out by 24 points at half time. Melbourne 8-4, 52. Lead West Coast 4-4, 28.
Goal kickers for the Demons. Bailey Fritsch, who loves this ground. He kicked 3 the last time they played the West Coast Eagles, and he kicked 6 in the grand final here. He's got 3 today, Bailey Fritsch for the Demons. Tom McDonald with a couple, Charlie Spargo with 2, Alex Neil-Bullen has 1 as well. So Fritsch leading the way with his 3 majors, while for the West Coast Eagles, all singles. Their goal kickers, Tim Kelly, Oscar Allen, Connor West and Noah Long. Melbourne 8-4, 52 to West Coast 4-4, 28 at half time. Couple of text messages to go through. 0437 774 774 as our experts just gather their thoughts for a moment. Stephen from Walkerville in Adelaide, loving the coverage from my garden, which is always a good place to listen to the footy. Thanks, Stephen, for texting in. And Marcus in South Melbourne. Thank goodness for ABC Grandstand. No AFL at all on TV today, and I'm enjoying 2 lovely bits of flake, which is not a bad thing to have for dinner on an Easter Sunday. Lots of chances to have a chat with you throughout our coverage. 0437 774 774 if you'd like to text us here on Grandstand AFL on ABC Radio, ABC Sport Digital, and of course streaming on the ABC Listen app. Look for the AFL button or the AFL Extra button, depending on what game you're trying to find. We're all on the one at the moment, the AFL button on the ABC Listen app. So with the Eagles showing a fair bit of fight up against their much more fancied opponents, but it's the Demons who lead by 24 points. What have you made of things? Bo McDonald, Cara Antonio on Grandstand AFL.
Yeah, well, I thought, again, the Eagles started that quarter how they started the match. They came out, their tackle pressure was there, the energy was there, a clear message from the coaching staff to move the ball quickly and get it inside forward 50. But for me, it's still that skill execution and that mid-forward connection that's lacking there for the Eagles. You know, the Demons have been known over the past 2 or 3 years to have one of the, if not the strongest defence set up, and you can't blaze away and bomb it in high because they're going to cut that ball off quite easily. So you need to either be able to chip your way through or get them out the back with your fast small forwards. And look, they've been able to hit the scoreboard a few times due to free kicks and getting in the right positions, but really Melbourne dominated that quarter. They got up in uncontested possessions plus 20. They had 4 more inside forward 50s, a number of more marks, and won the ball inside. So in the first quarter, we saw the dominance of the Eagles on the outside and their work rate to spread the ground, but Melbourne well and truly got on top in that area. Oliver got to work. He's on 18 touches for the game. And don't get me wrong, Tim Kelly's... he's been working hard. He's at 19 and he's had 8 inside forward 50s, but we've mentioned it throughout the coverage. The inside 50s just aren't polished enough to hit up a forward, and at this point, that's the difference. 4 goals the difference, and if a couple of those had hit a target, it could have been a different story.
Yeah, you're right, Cara. It's 8 marks inside 50 for Melbourne to the West Coast Eagles too. But I think I mentioned it at the start of the game. It's the running both ways. I reckon Melbourne just started to get on top. When Melbourne rushed forward, I don't think the Eagles were able to get their mids, were able to get out of the contest, get goal side, and Melbourne were just able to use the ball a lot smarter and therefore get their marks inside 50. So it's always the hard part with when you're playing that tsunami type football and you're going forward and you're going hard at all costs. You need a couple of solid blokes in the team that don't do that, and they cover you going back the other way. And then they're often they're often known who they are within a group, and they're often the best players for the side within a group. You don't see them in the media during the week, but they allow your blokes to run forward and do their thing. And I reckon the Eagles just lost that balance there for a little bit in the second quarter. They were okay with it in the first, but like we said, Cara, it's for long enough today. That's the key. And look, if we're honest, it's going to be very difficult for them to go long enough. And I reckon Adam Simpson will just be looking for all those little character traits from those young blokes out there in the midfield. Okay, if this does start to not go our way, what sort of character are the blokes going to show?
Do you reckon he'd be impressed, Simpson, at this point in time? They've kicked 4 goals for, they're down by 4 goals. Do you reckon he'd be impressed with the efforts and where they're... Because it's not a blowout. It's not, for mine, it's not a dominating performance by any stretch of the imagination from Melbourne.
Yep.
Do you reckon he'd be happy with what he's seen so far?
Yeah, I reckon you'd be happy with the effort. And I mean, you get to a stage with your football team that you don't even talk about effort. That's just a given. And
Yep.
that's probably not where the Eagles are at yet. So they're trying to build that effort over 4 quarters. So yeah, I think. Yeah, look, you'd speak about how it dropped off, and really you have to work hard going back the other way. And it's one thing to just turn your head and run back the other way, but you have to do something. You have to think smart on your way back there, work together, stay connected, help each other out, all those sorts of things. So as a young footballer coming through, you learn those things along the way. And unfortunately, some of these boys are learning out there against the hard-running Melbourne Demons outfit, but they'll be better for the run, that's for sure.
Unbelievably tough task for those West Coast Eagles youngsters. Likes of Hoff, West, Cully, Edwards, Clark. Some of them certainly a little bit older than your average footballer. Clark had a very impressive career in the WAFL, 25 years of age, but just his 10th AFL game to date. A number of them showing their best efforts for the West Coast Eagles. It is, though, the Demons on the scoreboard, 8-4-52 to West Coast. 4-4-28. Now, if you've just joined us, the other result, Essendon by 13 points today, 11-22-88 to GWS 11-9-75. And the other news out of today, still haven't seen the MRO, what he's had to say. Tom Lynch will be under the spotlight in that for an incident involving Alex Keith, but he's going to spend a bit of time on the sidelines anyway. The star Richmond forward has fractured his right foot during last night's 5-point loss, or yesterday afternoon's 5-point loss to the Western Bulldogs. He's going to undergo surgery. The Tigers will reassess the injury after that before putting a timeline on his return. But a fractured right foot for the Richmond Football Club forward in Tom Lynch. So it's bad news for him, whatever happens with the MRO officer a little bit later on. So just repeating half-time, 8-4-52 the Demons, the Eagles 4-4-28. If you'd like to get in touch, send us a text, 0437 774 774, 0437 774 774. At the main break, though, we'll pause now at Perth Stadium and get the latest from the ABC Newsroom.
Hello, this is ABC News with David Rowlands. The Prime Minister says he won't be releasing advice from the Solicitor General about the Indigenous Voice to Parliament proposal. The Coalition continues to demand the government reveal what its top lawyer said about the wording of the proposed constitutional amendment, arguing its current form opens the door to High Court challenges. Former Deputy Prime Minister Barnaby Joyce is chief among those calling for the advice to be released. Anthony Albanese has told Sky News it's not the way Solicitor General's advice is handled.
And he knows that while he served, they didn't release his cabinet advice to the cabinet. But the Solicitor General's views are very clear of support for this change, that it's legally sound.
State media in China say Chinese forces have conducted simulated precision strikes on key targets and continued their encirclement of Taiwan on the second day of military drills. The Taiwanese Defence Ministry says dozens of Chinese aircraft and 9 ships have taken part on the second day. The drills follow President Tsai Ing-wen's meeting last week with the Speaker of the US House of Representatives, which angered Beijing. China views democratically governed Taiwan as its territory and has never renounced force to bring the island under its control, while Taiwan's government strongly rejects China's claims. Israeli military jets have been in action against targets inside Syria after Israel reported missiles were fired towards it from Syrian territory. The BBC's Yolan Nell reports.
Israeli forces say their warplanes have attacked Syrian military targets with reports of explosions near Damascus. No damage was reported after missiles were earlier fired towards Israeli-controlled territory. In recent days, Israel's also come under fire from southern Lebanon and the Gaza Strip, prompting it to retaliate against Palestinian militants. Through the day, thousands of locals and international visitors are expected to head to Jerusalem's holy sites as the religious holidays of Passover, Easter and Ramadan coincide.
Rescue crews are preparing to search for survivors or victims in the rubble of a collapsed 5-storey building in the city of Marseille in the south of France. Hours after firefighters were called, it's still not known if there have been any deaths, although the city's mayor says the community must prepare for victims. About 100 firefighters are still dealing with the blaze that followed the collapse. Officials say the intense heat has so far made it impossible to send in dog teams to search for survivors. The Tasmanian opposition wants the government to make Easter Sunday a public holiday in the state to bring it into line with other jurisdictions. Tasmania and South Australia are currently the only two states where employees are not paid penalty rates to work today. Labor member for the northern seat of Bass, Janie Finlay, says workers are being ripped off.
We believe that those people that go to work to make sure that the state keeps moving over this weekend should be supported by having the Easter Sunday as a public holiday.
Police are appealing for public help to find a man involved in a frightening incident at a wellness centre at Northcote in Melbourne's inner north. Police say the man, who they've named as 25-year-old Bartholomew Griffith of Ivanhoe, entered a property in Salisbury Grove around 1:30 on Saturday morning, turned on the gas in the kitchen and left. He returned around 90 minutes later, dousing the entire house in petrol before attempting to ignite paper. Senior Constable Cameron Ashworth says the 52-year-old woman who was at the property was also splashed with petrol and had matches thrown towards her. However, nothing caught on fire.
Police believe that the incident itself, the victim was not targeted. Police believe that the location itself was the target. The victim itself is temporarily staying there due to circumstances, and she just happened to be present at the address.
The Geelong Football Club has confirmed legal proceedings have been taken against the club in the Supreme Court of Victoria. In a statement, the club says a historical claim of serious sexual abuse has been made by a person who was involved with the club's under-19s team in the early 1980s. The club says it is taking the matter extremely seriously and is unable to make any further comments now that legal proceedings have commenced. In the A-League men's competition, Melbourne Victory and Perth Glory have played out a 0-0 draw in Melbourne. A late save from Victory goalkeeper Paul Izzo helped Melbourne preserve a point, but the result still keeps them at the bottom of the table. The Glory had defender Mark Beavers sent off late, but the point keeps them in 7th place and still in the finals race. That brings you up to date with the latest ABC News.
Victor Moa, Boomerang, Hills Hoist, One Day Cricket. Aussies are an inventive lot.
It couldn't have been made anywhere else.
Tony Armstrong is rolling open the shed door to explore Aussie creations.
They tell us who we are and the times we live in.
And in there lies the charm.
From Speedos to Stubbies to the humble meat pie.
Enjoy the show.
Great Australian stuff. Starts Tuesday, April 11 on ABC TV and streaming on ABC iView. Grandstand AFL.
Now streaming every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Comes out to Brayshaw, 50 out from goal now. Hand passes off to McBee. He slips over and loses the footy and accidentally was taken high. Hewitt almost collapsed onto his head. It'll be a free kick to McBee. Wheels away quickly, sets it up to the top of the goal square. Petty is deep, can't take the mark. Roving at the front, Chandler wants to emerge with the footy. Hand pass out the back door to Fritsch. He's got a couple, hooks across the shoulder for his third.
Knocked down by Jones, he slapped it forward to Neil Bullen. Petrarca runs by, receives the hand pass, kicks in the direction of Fritsch. He gathers, kicks back into the corridor, sat it up beautifully for Neil Bullen, who snaps the goal. The Demons with 7.
Bowie. Little chip pass, a little too long for Neil Bullen, but overcommitting was Cole, who missed on the spoil. Neil Bullen gives a hand pass forward now to Viney. 60 out, long kick to full forward, and again, the Melbourne forwards happy to come at the footy. Spargo marks, wants to play on, open goal square, snaps it through. 2 to Spargo, the third multiple goal kicker for Melbourne so far this afternoon. And they stretch their lead back out again.
The 2023 AFL season.
On radio,
ABC Sport Digital.
And now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
Half-time at Perth Stadium. It's the Demons leading 8-4-52 to the Eagles 4-4-28. Melbourne at a ground that they've come to know and love over the last few seasons. Their 2021 premiership captured here. They've won their past 5 up against an Eagles side. So many unfamiliar players to those wearing blue and gold around the ground. 7 changes made. Hoff, West, Clark, Edwards, Cully. Rotham's the sub, the only one they probably would know. He's a dual best and fairest and a premiership player in Elliot Yeo. He's back in the team this week for the Eagles. Bailey Fritsch's kick 3. Melbourne lead by 24. Dave Lindsay's got all the other numbers that matter in front of him. Dave.
Melbourne lead the total disposals now, 204 to 180. They lead contested possessions by 16 and uncontested by 8. Inside 50s, though, just one ahead, 24 to 23. The tackles, Melbourne lead that category 40 to 34. And the hit-outs, as we've seen throughout the season, the Eagles struggling in that category. Just 9 hit-outs for West Coast, 28 for the Demons, 6 hit-outs to Bailey Williams, 19 to Brodie Grundy to be the leader in that category in terms of individuals. Our leading possession winners, Clayton Oliver's had 18 possessions, 7 kicks, 11 hand passes, 6 clearances for Clayton Oliver, 14 to Hunter, 13 to Grundy, 13 also to Rivers, 12 to Petrarca, Lever and Viney have had 11 possessions each, while for the Eagles, 19 to Tim Kelly, 15 kicks and 4 hand passes, 602 metres gained for Tim Kelly, 8 inside 50s and a goal. Jaden Hunt against his old side, 16 possessions, Gaff's had 15 touches, Jones 13 and Liam Duggan 12 possessions.
We were talking off air at the start of proceedings about Jake Soligo from the Adelaide Crows. What would he get for touching the umpire after kicking a goal? He has been reported by the MRO, unreasonable or unnecessary contact with an umpire, first offence, sanctioned $2,500 with the early plea, $1,500. I think he's lucky. Just my opinion. I think touching an umpire under any circumstances, unless you walk backwards into them, he's lucky not to get a week for that. So Jake Soligo and the Crows will be delighted. Tom Lynch, rough conduct, first offence. Alex Keith, of course, the player that he hit in the first quarter. Careless conduct, severe impact and high contact. It's been sent straight to the tribunal. So it would have been 3 or more matches straight to the tribunal. Of course, knowing now that he's going to have surgery on the fractured foot, he's probably going to miss 3 to 4, you would say, at least anyway. But Tom Lynch been sent straight to the tribunal, which won't impress Damien Hardwick about what he had to say after the commentary on it yesterday. And Scotty Lysett of Port Adelaide, rough conduct on Lance Franklin in the second quarter of yesterday's game has been graded as intentional conduct, low impact and body contact. So with that, it's a $3,000 sanction. It can be $2,000 if he takes the early plea. So that's the match review. The details coming through just as we speak. A couple of text messages as well to go through. Melbourne leading by 24 points. One that does come up an awful lot. Mike from Tasmania. Hi there. In relation to Paddy McCartan and his ongoing concussion issues, it's still a very real issue for him. Why is he not wearing protective headgear? This comes up a lot. The reason being is the number of studies that have shown that wearing a helmet doesn't actually protect you from concussion because the brain still moves around inside the skull. A lot of people like to wear it, and I know the comment's been made that Angus Brayshaw had a number of concussion knocks. He started to wear a helmet and hasn't had them. There's an element of just good luck in that too. He wanted to wear it because he felt more comfortable in it. But if you, even with a helmet on, sustain a knock to the head, you can still get concussion. That's the reason why it's been proven again that they don't actually stop concussion helmets.
Sometimes it's worse because the player will go into positions that normally they wouldn't, thinking they've got that extra protection, and then we see in American football where they actually use it as a bit of a weapon as well. So quite often people end up in a worse situation than if they're not wearing the helmet.
Yeah. There was a study on rugby union about that as well in England, where players were putting their heads where they normally wouldn't put their head if they had a helmet. So that's one of the reasons why that doesn't happen. I understand why people always talk about it. It certainly can stop you from knocks, but it doesn't necessarily stop concussion. The Traralgon Tigers is always good fun to have a chat with. G'day all, says the Traralgon Tiger. Great to hear the Boo Factory still going strong in Perth on a Sunday arvo. They do like a boo here in the West, particularly the West Coast Eagles. They're very good at it. A lot of other clubs would actually really like to have the sort of raucous one-eyed support that West Coast do. Though I have been at the odd game at the MCG when the Richmond fans were unhappy with the odd umpiring decision. So the Tigers, they don't mind a boo either from time to time. Big shout out to Red, to Brig, Pablo and Kat. They're listening around the campfire from the Kempsey Shire. Hope you're having a good Easter Sunday. Mark from Adelaide says, give us an estimate on the crowd. I reckon about 40,000. It was about 35. They're very slow to come in. It is Easter. West Coast fans, we've known for years, don't mind going down south and just not reselling their ticket. So I'd suggest somewhere 35,000, 40,000. And Fiona, who's at the game. Hello, Fiona. Thanks for the commentary, Clint. Can you tell us a bit more about the unfamiliar Eagles players who are out here after last week's carnage? We'll do our best, Fiona, to drop you some details throughout the next 2 quarters of footy. But we're about to get back underway. Melbourne had the lead, 8-4-52. The Eagles are 4-4-28. Let's see what happens in this second half. Dave Lindsay on Grandstand AFL.
Grundy and Williams in the first ruck again. Grundy flicks it back, looking for Viney. Kelly was onto him quickly. Now Ginby, tackled by Neil Bullen. And a ball up required about 10 metres forward of the centre. Both substitutes still waiting for their opportunity. Josh Rotham for West Coast. And James Jordan, who was substitute on Grand Final Day here a couple of years ago. Out of the middle it comes this time. Petrarca, fairly quiet so far. Hand pass away towards Langdon. Long towards full forward. Mark is paid to West Coast deep in defence. And Yo taking some body contact but hanging on to the grab at full back. He's a familiar name who's back in. Don't need to tell you too much about him if you're an Eagles fan for many years. Elliot Yo now towards half back. Darling wrestling with May. May way too strong. Favoured by the kick. Dangerous inboard pass, but it does get to Petty. Front edge of the centre square. Plenty of numbers back inside defensive 50 for West Coast. So Petty might just have to set this one up towards the top of the goal square. Van Rooyen down there in from the side though. Barras, the acting skipper, takes the mark. And we're still at a 24-point lead to Melbourne a minute into the third quarter.
Barras, the acting captain today, for the first time. So the former captain, the premiership captain in Shannon Hearn. Luke Shuey, of course, out with a hamstring injury. Hearn to Duggan. And then out to Yo again. Mark's in the right back pocket. Just curling the ball over in his right hand. And now look to go down to the southern wing. Lever got in front of Allen. Couldn't quite get a touch on it. The ball carries over them. And then carries over the boundary line for a throw-in on true centre wing, southern side of Perth Stadium. Breeze, as far as the flags are concerned, favouring the Farmer Freeway end of the ground. To the left of where we are, the way the Eagles are kicking in this quarter as the Demons bring it away from the restart, but Oliver's hand pass intercepted. Stolen by Ginby. Works it out again to Kelly. Moves it to Allen by foot. Allen marks, plays on into the right forward pocket. Oh, Hibbard crashing into Waterman. They both went up. It spilled down to West in the meantime. Bounced the kick towards the goal square. It crosses the line to the right of the goal and through for a minor score. Big collision. Hibbard and Waterman, they're both up. Waterman a little bit worse for wear. Both had eyes for the football, and Waterman hit the ground solidly. He was horizontal when his back hit the deck.
On kick back into play. Petty at half back gets rid of Jones. Can't take the mark. Awkward kick for Neil Bullen to deal with. It goes to ground without taking possession. And the Eagles come in to shut it down. Rivers applying the tackle on Long.
Just updating the scoreboard. 8-4-52 the Demons. 4-5-29 the Eagles. 3 gone in the third.
Right on the sponsor's logo. Broadcast side wing. Grundy down towards Pickett. He's tackled. Can't get out with the football. We'll get another ball up.
Adrian Sardi, our tech at half-time, has brought some sausage rolls and party pies back for us. Bless him. There's a mountain of them up here.
Invite some people up here to share them with you, I think. Ginby tries to barge his way through. Was he tackled high? No. Grundy applying that tackle. Another ball up required. Still stuck on the sponsor's logo. Broadcast side wing with the D's up by 23.
I reckon I can get through the pies. Sausage rolls might be more of a challenge. Thrown up into the air. Taken by Oliver. Oh, swing and a miss. Long was happy to take it away from the Eagles. They go charging up the middle. Kelly to West. Long inside forward 50. Wanting Waterman got hands to it. Couldn't mark against Hibbard. Slapped it back inboard. Darling picks it up. Tackled by Brayshaw. Ball jarred out. Waterman can't get boot to ball. Well tackled again by Brayshaw. Umpire says play on. It comes again to Hewitt. Snaps up into the air towards full forward. Hunt flew. Couldn't mark. West applies pressure. Viney's over the top. West got a hand pass straight into traffic. Somehow Allen manufactures a kick, but he misses to the right-hand side. He had Demons hanging off him in the right forward pocket. A minor score. 2 behinds to start the quarter for the Eagles. They're 4-6-30. Melbourne 8-4-52. 4 gone in the third.
couple of involvements from Connor West, rookie listed, son of Robbie West, who won a Sandover medal back in the 1990s. A waffle competition. The long kick has been intercepted by Barras. The Eagles have started this quarter well again. He shapes the hand pass, so he's called to play on. Swings onto the left boot. Long towards West, and Darling at the back. Darling takes it. Yes, just held it long enough. I think he was a little bit indecisive when he realised it was West who was up in front of him. Still held on to the mark, though, about 30 metres out, slightly right of centre.
Well, really good start from West Coast again. Melbourne had the first couple inside forward 50s. They were chopped off by the West Coast key defenders. They've been able to slingshot it back down the other end, and a re-entry to the Eagles and a fantastic contested mark from Darling.
A best of 5 against Melbourne. He's done that on 2 occasions. This, though, for his first this afternoon to the Farmer Freeway end. Jack Darling has just missed to the left. He'll be disappointed with that. Melbourne, their lead reduces to 21 points. The Eagles have kicked 3 behinds to start this third term.
Here's May to Viney, still in the right back pocket. Stepped inboard, stepped back, and now kicks towards centre wing. Fritsch marking in front of Hoff, another one of the youngsters we've spoken of before. Fritsch into the right forward pocket. Williams, defensive mark, got in front of Petty. Petty played forward for a fair chunk of last week too for the Demons against the Swans. He's there again today. Here's Williams kicking towards commentary wing. Another youngster in Judd McVie, just his 4th game, wearing the Melbourne Demons colours. Takes a mark, sends it to the logo. It's dropped then by Rivers. Had time to regather and move it short to Oliver. Oliver for Melbourne. Kicks towards full forward. Big pack up. Barras front position. Couldn't mark. Spills out the side. Fritsch tries to gather. Goes over the top of it. Comes now towards Pickett. Throws it on the boot. Just misses. From the left forward pocket. Shoveled cleverly off the ground. I didn't see who got it out. Might have been Hunter. Pickett off a step. Couldn't convert. 8-5-53 the Demons. 4-7-31 the Eagles. 7 gone in the third.
Jones with the long kick into the southern side wing. They come back though, Melbourne. Hunter loading up on his left, pokes a little pass to Petrarca. Marks right on the sponsor's logo on the 50. He'll wheel and go from 55. He's a thumping kick. This will go right to the teeth of goals. The Eagles get back in number, and Cole swatting it away with some support from Barras. Over the boundary for a throw in, right forward pocket, City end. Melbourne by 22. Boundary umpire sets himself up. About 3 steps around from the right-hand behind post. The 2 number 2s do the ruck work. Van Rooyen just gently palms it at his feet, hoping that Oliver can connect with him. Can't do so. Jones applies the tackle on Van Rooyen. Ball up. 25 out from the Melbourne goal. Still looking for the first goal of this third quarter. It's nearly 8 minutes old.
Neither ruck with a telling tap. Petrarca able to pick it up off the deck. He's tackled by Jones. Petrarca says it's been held to me here. Umpire will ball it up. Van Rooyen, front position, palms it down to Oliver. Oh, cleverly worked a kick away up into the air towards full forward. No mark taken. Came down to Cully. Petrarca tried to get a kick away, only as far as Hearn though. Tough stuff inside the Demons forward 50, and Jinby takes it over the boundary line. Right with him, Oliver again. So there will be a ball in. 35 out from Melbourne's attacking goal. Heading to the City end, the right of where we're broadcasting from on the northern wing. Back into play, Van Rooyen off the fingertips, up against Waterman. Trying to get a hurried kick away, Edwards. Smothered the first time, hand pass to Jinby, back to Edwards. Met by 2 Demons. Langdon got him one way, Viney the other. But almost like a rolling maul. Somehow West Coast have got it beyond their defensive 50. There'll be a ball up at left half back. Melbourne 8-5, West Coast 4-7, 9 gone in the third.
Very much contested style footy from both sides to start this third quarter. Gaff just gets the clearance away, but it only bounces 20 metres forward. Chopped off by Rivers. Long kick towards full forward. Petty there and in from the side. Fritsch with a big leap. Petrarca was closing. Hearn swats it through. Rushed behind. Melbourne moved to 8-6. West Coast 4-7. As Hearn looks to bring it back in quickly. Runs himself into a bit of a pickle. Hand pass to Hoff. Hoff in trouble as well. Dodging and diving. Throws on the boot. Clears the defensive end. Brayshaw stands in the way, knocked away from him by West. Melbourne can go back inside 50. Neil Bullen across the body into some space. Petrarca stretching, juggling, takes it, plays on, spots the vacant goal square and bounces it through. Well, the Eagles played themselves into a real hole there with the rushed kick in, and Petrarca makes them pay. Nearly 10 minutes into the third quarter, we've got our first goal of the term, and it's Melbourne 9-6-60 leading West Coast 4-7-31. You're on Grandstand AFL. Cara Antonio and Bo McDonald, your experts this afternoon.
Well, the Demons have made that really hard. They've had 7 inside forward 50s. They haven't been able to hit a target. I've just noticed the change that's been made. Tom McDonald looks like he's been moved back, but now he's gone forward. But in that whole passage of play, and Petty was moved, so they did a bit of a flip, and there just wasn't enough movement. We know how natural Tom McDonald is, a lead up forward, and luckily there, the smarts of Petrarca just read that really well. Off the boot, juggled the mark, and then a really nice snap at goal.
I say he's been quiet by his standards. He's had 15 disposals and now a goal. He has been quiet by his standards, but he's still done a fair bit of work out there. Christian Petrarca might be fired up even more. What's happened here? Umpire decided not happy with the bounce, I think. Throws it aloft now. Grundy punted down over his shoulder. It bounced back a second time for the Demons to Petrarca, who was strong and then got taken high by Gaff. He gets the free kick, hands it off to Langdon, runs up the corridor, kicks inside forward 50. Oyoa's up and he dropped it, couldn't mark, and then he takes Fritsch out. Umpire says play on. Barras picked it up, gave it to Hoff, and he steers it into the right back pocket to Clark for the Eagles. Kicks short and finds Waterman hard up against the boundary. Still just inside defensive 50. The switch play back towards Jones, marking it full back. He'll come out towards left half back where Edwards now marks. Pick 52 in the 2020 National Draft. He'll move it short. Petreski-Seaton couldn't take it. Oh, ugly kick inboard off the hands of Fritsch. Sparrow trying to knock it down. It comes again towards Fritsch. Kicks inside forward 50. Sliding out to take the mark is Viney. And he marks 40 from goal. He'll start his approach from in line with the right hand behind post, looking to kick the Demons 10th.
Yeah, well, this is where it's going to start to get hard for West Coast. You look around now, starting to be second to the ball. A lot of blokes got their hands on their hips at the moment. They're really struggling to keep up with the run, and then turning that ball over across the half back line just keeps making it really difficult for the Eagles back six.
Demons captain in this game, Todd Viney, from 45 out, kicks the goal for Melbourne. His first of the day. Melbourne with their 10th of the afternoon, 10-6-66. The Eagles are 4-7-31. We've travelled 13 minutes into the third term. It's a lead now, a game high of 35 points.
Well, just when you think that West Coast are getting a little bit of a run on from their half back, just poor skill execution, and invites the pressure, creates a turnover for the Ds, and then they're able to, in that case, hit a target inside forward 50, whereas the first kind of, what have we gone, first kind of 5 minutes or so, haven't been able to hit a target. That was a really nice kick, hit Viney, and a really nice finish from the acting captain today.
10 marks inside 50 for Melbourne, resulting in 7 goals from those marks. Bounce in the middle favours Williams. Grundy doesn't compete. It comes down towards Kelly. He's pushed off the football. Sparrow tries to barge his way through. Tackled by Gaff. Will get a secondary ball up. Clayton Oliver, 22 possessions for Melbourne. Tim Kelly, 22 for West Coast. Secondary ball up. Cully had an opportunity. Lost the football. They stack on top again. Another ball up just outside the centre circles. Grundy up to 25 hit-outs. Bailey Williams has had 7. Another win here for Grundy. Straight to Cully again. The mid-season pick last year in the draft for West Coast is tackled. Need a third ball up to split them. Demons by 35 points. 14 played here in the third quarter. Grundy wins it down. Sparrow this time tackled and marched 5 metres the West Coast Eagles' way. And the umpire calls a quick whistle once more. This time Williams wins in the ruck. Gaff goes to ground. He'll get a free kick. Tackle without the football. So at the long last, the Eagles get the clearing kick. It'll come from Andrew Gaff. He's walked well off the mark here, the line of his mark at least. It's called a play on. Kicks high and long towards half forward, standing in front McVie. Can't take the mark. Kelly emerges with the football. Stops and props, and his hand pass was charged down by Viney. Still the Eagles slap it closer to goal, deep in the right forward pocket. Lever bundled over by Petrevski-Seaton and get a boundary throw in right forward pocket.
What I'm really liking from the Eagles coaching staff as well is they're allowing their players to play genuine one-on-ones. They're not sagging anyone back. They could, but they're backing in their own men.
Williams working his way to the front, palms it down to Petrevski-Seaton, throws on the left boot, high towards the top of the goal square. Oscar Allen positioned himself well, got the body in front of Lever and judged it nicely in the air. Taking the mark in the hands, low to ground in the end. He'll have a shot from 25 out.
Yeah, I agree, Carl. I reckon that's a really good sign. You can have all the structures you want in the world, and you can be in the right spot, but if you can't win a critical contest and get your hands on the ball, it doesn't really matter. And that's where you learn.
Kicked 1 goal 1 so far today. Twice this season he's kicked 2 goals 2, and he kicked 3 goals 3 last week. This time, for his second goal of the afternoon, Oscar Allen converts, and the Eagles stop the Melbourne run at 3 goals. They trim the margin back to 29 points. It's Melbourne 10-6-66. West Coast to 5-7-37. You're on Grandstand AFL, and we've played 16 minutes in the third quarter.
It's not too often that Lever gets beaten in a contest, but there it was just Oscar Allen just really read it well off the boot and protected the fall of the ball. Lever had no chance even at full stretch to influence that, and a good finish. He's been good this season so far, Oscar Allen. I've been impressed.
Well, if ever the Eagles needed to get some juice in the building, it's now. Just get another quick goal, get the fans involved, and the way we've seen football go this year with the momentum swings, they could get themselves right back in it.
So from the restart, Grundy slapped it down. His head over the top of it was Cully. He's tackled. Ball up will be the call. Cluggo's listening in. Says he's camping near the Grampians. Loving the footy. But you could join us wherever you are on this Easter Sunday. As the Eagles get the clearance from the restart, Cully gave it on to Hunt, the former Demon. Kicked towards the outer side. Underneath it, West couldn't mark. Spilled down to Jinby. Tackled by McVie. Has it been held in here? The umpire circles. Will ball it up. Just forward of the logo, as far as West Coast Eagles are concerned. Southern side of Perth Stadium. No one nominated here, and there's a free kick being spotted. Eventually, Williams has given it away. Grundy gets the free kick. They were lurking, but no one went towards it. Comes out here towards Hunter. Got it from Petrarca. Hunter kicks into the left forward pocket. Then Royan chases it, can't keep it in. It's over the boundary line, right where the 50-metre arc meets the boundary. Left half forward for the Demons. 10-6-66. The Eagles are 5-7-37, nearly 18 gone in the third. Grandstand AFL from Perth Stadium, thanks to ABC Sport.
Williams works his way to the front of the contest. Knocks it closer to the boundary. Emerging with the football, Jinby does it well. Floats a hand pass out in front, hoping for someone to run onto it. It's accidentally soccered backwards by Melbourne. May's hand pass goes astray over the boundary. Crowd won't deliver it, they won't get it. Throw in to take place ever so slightly forward of centre wing for Melbourne. They lead it by 29. Played 18 minutes in the third quarter. Same two ruckmen go out again. Williams tries to take clean possession. Dropped it in the tackle in the end. Hand pass from Kelly back to Hunt. Kick was charged down. Good smother there by Rivers. And then he wins his own football. Hand passes away to Hunter with the left towards the corridor. Hoff flies, drops the mark out the back door. Chandler floats a hand pass over the top to Tom McDonald. And he's got 3. Melbourne have done that a couple of times today. Managed to sneak a player out the back. And the chain of hand passes ending with Tom McDonald. 3 goals to McDonald, and Melbourne back out to that 35-point lead, game high, 11-6-72. They lead West Coast 5-7-37.
Just a good contest there from Pickett. Was obviously outsized and went out the back. Team first footy. Give it to the man in a better position than you for a certain goal with Tom McDonald. He's been good coming back into the size, as we've mentioned, for Ben Brown. And he's been able to hit the scoreboard, which has been the most important and most pleasing thing.
Very good on those soft drops, Melbourne. I mean, if you can get up as a defender and really get a good, strong fist on that and clear the area, it can sometimes take their forward runners out of it. But just the soft drop and just the numbers running forward.
Grundy against Williams. They stare at each other across the centre circle. Williams wins the tap down for the Eagles. Comes to Kelly. Stolen, though, by Grundy. Gaff chases him. Scooped up. Oliver first. Got it onto Viney. Hand pass back to Oliver. Hand pass goes past Chandler. Pickett has 2 goes. Able to pick it up. Hand pass again to Chandler. From the left forward pocket. He sends it towards goal. Oh, my goodness me. That's a great finish. Involved a couple of times and finally could get Boots a ball. Well done to Chandler. He kicks Melbourne's 12th from deep in the left forward pocket, and even he looks like he can barely believe it. Still a broad smile on the face. The boots are bright red. The finish superb. 12-6-78 Melbourne. 5-7-37 the Eagles. 21 minutes gone in the third.
Starting to look a bit like dominoes now, just come off and help, and then the next one opens up, the next person comes off, another one opens up, and they just keep finding the free men. No one's able to really have an impact on the ball or cover a receiver at the moment. It's pretty free-flowing, and what a great goal in front of the Melbourne fans in their pocket in the second tier there too. They were loving it.
He was an emergency here on grand final day of 2021. 4 games, all as a medi-sub in 2022. He's played every game so far this season.
Low bounce from the umpire. Williams almost uncontested there in the end. Now Viney comes through. His hand pass goes backwards. Neil Bullen had a crack. He missed it. In comes Oliver. Ball spills out the back door. Viney dives in on top of this one. Umpire calls for another ball up. Essendon defeated the Giants by 13 points earlier today. Melbourne now out by 41 points here. McDonald in the ruck, wins it down. Viney with a clearance. Pickett's lively at half forward. Hand pass off to McDonald. He can just about go the whole way here. 55 out, long on goal. He's got another one. Tom McDonald has 4. And Melbourne have strung 3 in a row together. And it's the 3rd time today they've had a streak of at least 3 consecutive goals. And it's starting to really get messy here for West Coast. The margin out to 47 points. Melbourne 13-6-84. The Eagles are 5-7-37. 22 minutes gone in the third quarter at Perth Stadium.
That was just off the back of Cozzy Pickett, clean ground ball pick up, and Tom McDonald to stay involved in the contest. A nice running shot. Great word. I think it was Fritsch on the goal line there just to body out his opponent to get the ball again. A team first act. He could have probably taken the grab and opted to shepherd that one through.
Reckon the Swans might be having a little look at what Bailey Fritsch did just then, sort of blocking out anyone getting near the wall. An intriguing way to finish last night was as Williams wins it down. Umpire spots a holding decision going the way of Oliver against Ginby. They'll play on quickly here, the Demons. Over to Neil Bullen, long towards full forward. Carries over the back. Cozzy Pickett misses. Threw it on the boot. The outside of the right boot went narrow, missed left. He was involved in the 2 previous goals. You felt like he probably deserved one. Not with that. 13-7-85 Melbourne. 5-7-37 the Eagles. 23 gone in the third.
Yo with the kick in. Finds his target at half back using the body well, Tom Cole. Cradling 50 there as Sparrow came in very close. Short pass, Petrevsky-Seaton at right half back. Demons by 8 goals. They've kicked 5 goals to 1 in this third quarter. This was the concern coming into the game, is that the Eagles match Melbourne for 4 quarters. We thought there'd be some effort early. Melbourne have turned the ball over here as well. Half forward, it's Hunter. Spearing it in low. And again, key forward's happy to come at the kicker. Petty takes the mark. Wanted to centre the kick. Eagles were alert to that. Hunt leaping in the air. Made the spoil. It'll still end up in a goal anyway, will it? No. Pickett receiving a hand pass and snapping, but he's missed. And Cozzy Pickett has racked up 4 behinds or 5?
5.
5 behinds for Cozzy Pickett today. That's a 49-point lead to Melbourne. 24 minutes gone, third quarter.
He's been involved in a bit, though. A couple of assists. There's Duggan beyond defensive 50. Waterman tries to bring it down. He's able to work it towards a teammate in Hewitt. Back to Clark. Ball still bouncing around. Comes out the back for the Eagles. And they're happy to get it now to West. West plays on to Jones, almost ran straight into trouble. The kick, not quite what he was hoping for. Touched on the way through, and then Allen got dispatched. Knocked to ground, the Eagles take the advantage. Cole, sweeping hand pass, Kelly, comes now to Waterman, pops a hand pass over the top to Hunt. Hunt runs in and misses to the right-hand side. Looking to kick a goal against his former club. It's just a behind. The Eagles move to be 5-8-38. Melbourne are 13-8-86. 24 gone in the third.
Eagles 1 goal 4 for the quarter as May kicks it in long. Viney makes the contest and then wins it at ground level. Spinning, he gets a hand pass away to Langdon. They're streaming forward here, the Demons. Langdon with a bounce, long to the pocket. Van Rooyen on the end of it, takes the mark, or did he? He definitely juggled that 2 bites. Boundary umpire says both grabs were inside the line.
I agree with the crowd. I
think the spectators there were in a better position than the boundary umpire. He had both feet over the line and the ball was in front of him. Now, I'm not sure how the boundary umpire can overrule this, but the field umpire in the middle is signalling throw it in. They've looked at the replay there. They have genuinely looked at the replay. There's no way the field umpire in the middle of the ground could overrule that. They've got the right decision in the end. I'm just not sure that's the way we're supposed to get those decisions correct, but in the end, it matters not. It's an 8-goal lead anyway to Melbourne. Boundary throw in right forward pocket. Van Rooyen opposed to Waterman, wins it down. Duggan spinning, gets a hand pass away. Pickett takes the footy, tackled immediately by Clark. We'll get a ball up now, 30 metres out, right forward pocket, city end. Melbourne 13-8, West Coast 5-8.
Put up in the air. Waterman with the tap. Comes to Williams. Stolen away by Petrarca. Hand pass to Chandler. Back again to Viney. Umpire spotted a free kick. Taken high. One of the Demons. Or is it one of the Eagles? No, it's one of the...
I think
umpires are pointing in different directions here. No, it's not Viney. I think it's coming back to Chandler. I thought it was Chandler in the first place, and then saw one of the other umpires pointing the non-controlling one in the opposite call. Anyway, a bit like last time, we've got the right decision. Chandler goes back into the middle of the ground and finds McVie. Sweeps a hand pass for Hibberd running by from the attacking point of the centre square. Kicks into the left forward pocket, and here is Van Rooyen. No questions this time. Takes the mark. He's in line with the left-hand goalpost. He'll go back and shoot from no more than 25.
I like the shift inside there. Ball movement from Melbourne. And Hibbert off the half-back line with that booming left-foot kick. A great lead, and again an inviting kick to the key forward. A great mark.
Looking for his first goal today, back in his home state. Van Rooyen from right in front. He kicks the goal for Melbourne. They're starting to get right away from West Coast now. Their lead is out to 54 points. Melbourne 14-8-92. The Eagles 5-8-38. 27 and a half gone in the third term on Grandstand AFL. Stands on the front porch in Bunbury, listening to the radio, enjoying a quiet beer. Good on you, Stan. Thanks for texting in 0437 774 774 if you'd like to as well. Our experts today here on Grandstand AFL, Cara Antonio and Bo McDonald.
Well, Cara, you spoke about it before. The Eagles are playing one-on-one footy down there behind the ball. Does it get to a stage where you have to start getting some numbers behind the ball? Just looking up then, every time it went into Melbourne's forward line, just then there was 3 behind the ball from then. The handball could have gone corridor or boundary line for the overlap run and kick in. There's just no way they're going to be able to get the ball forward as well.
Out of the middle they go again, Melbourne. Towards half forward, Neil Bullen can't take the mark. Jones takes it away. Hand pass to Ginby. A little fumble gets it to Cully. He lays it back to Gaff. Kicks into some space on the wing. Brayshaw leads in the race. Controlled the footy very nicely. Hand pass back to Rivers. Off to Lever. He's caught by Allen. Took on the tackler, holding the ball. Oscar Allen has worked very hard up forward. It's been a good contest between he and Lever. He's had a little bit of Stephen May to worry about at times as well, as the kick goes long towards half forward. In from the side, Waterman opposed to Grundy. They bring it to ground and Melbourne clear. Lever on the way out takes the mark at half back. Allen sags away off the mark, so he's able to kick inboard to Petrarca. Another hand pass into the corridor for Neil Bullen. Players streaming forward again in all directions for Melbourne. The kick towards centre-half forward. Fritsch drops the mark. Time to recover the footy. Hooks it high in the Petty direction, juggling with one grab. Can't bring it in with the second. Hoff did enough to spoil and then knocks it over the boundary. We'll get a boundary throw in left forward pocket in front of Jacob Van Rooyen, who gets the Roo call in game number 2. You know you're a crowd favourite if you're getting a chant from the crowd in your second game of AFL footy.
Spun back in, Petty to do the ruck work, gets in front of Williams, palms it down. Spargo can't quite keep it in. Eventually the umpires agree with what I saw through the binoculars and they'll make the call. West Coast fans starting to get a bit nervous about what this margin might be. The team's fought valiantly. Williams won it down, came back to Petty though. Not sure where to go. Surrounded by it, has eventually got a hand pass out to Spargo, who looks to snap from deep in the left forward pocket. He misses to the left-hand side. Already with a couple today, Charlie Spargo. Not with that. 14.9.93 Melbourne. 5.8.38 the Eagles. 30 gone in the third.
Shannon Hearn to do the kicking in. Decides to send it as far as he can out towards the southern side wing. Darling has it knocked away from him by Grundy. Duggan picks it up and tried the fend off and he's caught holding the ball. Tough call. Free kick goes the way of Petty. Wants to lay it off to Bowie. Decides against that and now looks to a very crowded attacking 50. So decides not to pull the trigger on that one. Kicks laterally to Brayshaw. He will go longer. Straight up the middle towards full forward. At the back is Williams. Can't take the mark. Cully roving. Hand pass to Hewitt or Clark, in fact. Nice little sidestep. Melbourne putting the pressure on up forward again, though. Rivers gets in the way. Applies the tackle on Cole. Turns the footy over. It comes to Fritsch on the wrong side for a right footer. Ducks back onto his left. Hand pass to Neil Bullen. Back to Rivers. He's 48 out up against the boundary. Not sure what he was thinking there. Sends it long and high and very wide. Out of bounds on the full. The margin for Melbourne remains at 55 points. 31 and a half minutes gone in the third quarter.
Short pass inboard from Hearn to Duggan, who marks. Duggan waits as long as he can. Then kicks beyond defensive 50. Two Melbourne players almost getting in each other's way, but Grundy had the height advantage, so he won it down up against Rivers. And then he steps inside Ginby and he'll kick towards full forward for the Demons. They fly. Fritsch couldn't get there. Petrarca picks it up, hand pass into the corridor. Jones tapped it down for the Eagles to Cole, to Gaff. Hand pass straight back into traffic. Coley tried to shovel it out. Still there to be won. Jones tackled to ground. Umpire says we'll ball this up. Still inside the Demons forward 50. Going to the right of our broadcast position in what's left of this third term. Grundy won the tap, came back, ricocheted to Williams, slapped it forward only as far as Petrarca. He's tackled by Gaff. That's holding the ball. Incorrect disposal against Petrarca. Gaff can trot back to take the free kick for West Coast. 14.9.93 Melbourne, 5.8.38 the Eagles as Gaff kicks towards left half back. Allen flies, can't mark, spills down to Ginby.
Throws on the right boot quickly, bouncing it past half forward. Waterman being held by Hibbert. And that'll be a free kick. Ball skips on about 30 metres, so it'll have to come back. Bowie very carefully sends the kick back to Waterman. No mistake. That we saw with Charlie Dixon yesterday. Nice kick from Waterman. Spots up Oscar Allen, who found some space 45 metres out. The angle a bit tighter than 45 degrees.
No doubt the bench was yelling pretty loudly then to Waterman. And he was able to find his teammate in Oscar Allen. It's been a dominating performance this quarter by Melbourne, but it'd be nice for the West Coast Eagles to go on at three-quarter time if Allen can put this one through.
He's kicked West Coast's only goal of the term. Melbourne have kicked 6 of their own. We saw a goal to Bailey Fritsch after the siren in the first quarter. And now Oscar Allen will kick from right on the 50-metre arc. Farmer Freeway end. We're right behind the kick here as Allen sends it goalward. It looks beautiful off the boot. And it sneaks inside the left-hand goalpost. Oscar Allen has 3. He's got 10 for the season. It's a good return from his first 4 games back after a long layoff. But it's been Melbourne's quarter. 6 goals to 2 in the term, and at three-quarter time, It's Melbourne 14-9-93, West Coast 6-8-44.
So the Demons lead cut to 49 points with a quarter to play. Melbourne, Tom McDonald has 4, Bailey Fritsch with 3, Charlie Spargo with 2. The other goal kickers, Van Rooyen, Petrarca, Viney, Neil Bullen and Chandler. While for the West Coast Eagles, Oscar Allen with 3 goals and singles to Kelly, West and Long. Melbourne 14-9-93 to the Eagles 6-8-44, three-quarter time at Perth Stadium, wherever you're listening on ABC Radio, Sport Digital and streaming on the ABC Listen app. Look for the AFL button. This is Grandstand AFL.
Well, it's not a normal cafe.
We specialise in the milk of the platypus.
Auntie Donna have millions of views. Now the superstars of socials have an ABC TV show and a cafe.
Here's your sandwich, you dingus.
And more celebrity cameos than latte flavours.
Doesn't that sound silly? Pretty silly to me, Ray.
Auntie Donna's Coffee Cafe starts Wednesday, April 12 on ABC TV and streaming on ABC iView.
Grandstand AFL.
Now streaming every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Williams wins the tap down for the Eagles. Comes to Kelly. Stolen though by Grundy. Gaff chases him. Scooped up. Oliver first. Got it onto Viney. Hand pass back to Oliver. Hand pass goes past Chandler. Pickett has 2 goes. Able to pick it up. Hand pass again to Chandler. From the left forward pocket. He sends it towards goal. Oh my goodness me. That's a great finish. Well done to Chandler. He kicks Melbourne's 12th.
Donald in the ruck, wins it down. Viney with the clearance. Pickett's lively at half forward. Hand pass off to McDonald. He can just about go the whole way here. 55 out, Long on goal. He's got another one. Tom McDonald has 4. And Melbourne have strung 3 in a row together. And it's the 3rd time today they've had a streak of at least 3 consecutive goals.
Hibbert running by from the attacking point of the centre square, kicks into the left forward pocket, and here is Van Rooyen. No questions this time. Takes the mark. He's in line with the left-hand goalpost. He'll go back and shoot from no more than 25. Looking for his first goal today, back in his home state. Van Rooyen from right in front. He kicks the goal for Melbourne. They're starting to get right away from West Coast now.
The 2023 AFL season.
On radio,
ABC Sport Digital.
And now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
Some rugby league games to bring you up to date with. Earlier today, the Gold Coast Titans snuck home against the Dragons by 2 points, 20-18 on the Gold Coast. There's a game still underway, early stages, second half, Newcastle against the Warriors, and it's the Knights who lead that by 16 points, 22-6. The other AFL game today, earlier today, the Bombers by 13 points over the Giants, while here at Perth Stadium, the Demons are up by 49 over the Eagles. Let's get the thoughts of our experts, Cara Antonio and Bo McDonald on Grandstand AFL.
Yeah, well, it was a good quarter for the D's, obviously, and I think they were able to put a little bit more pressure on the Eagles when the Eagles had the ball, and therefore their disposal efficiency dropped to 62%, and then when Melbourne got it, their disposal efficiency was 74%, and a lot of that was in their forward half, and then we saw 18 marks for them inside 50 in a quarter compared to the West Coast Eagles 7. So, look, you can't knock the Eagles' effort, but it's Melbourne were just a lot cleaner in those critical contests and were able to find the outside player. And just like I said during the call, it looked like dominoes, Cara. As soon as someone come forward to put pressure on the Melbourne ball carrier, they were able to change an angle and find someone, then find someone else, and then eventually use the ball going inside 50.
Yeah, you've hit the nail on the head there, Bo. I think the spread from the Ds, they were quick to react on turnover, and I think we mentioned in that third quarter there was a number of poor skill execution and probably poor decision-making from the Eagles to help with the turnover from the Ds, and they were able to slingshot it back in and capitalise with the 18 inside 50s for the 6 goals 5. Eagles still were able to hit the scoreboard with the 2 goals 4, but just not enough to hold with the Ds.
Yeah, look, if you're Adam Simpson, what would you be saying to your group now at three-quarter time? It's obviously it's going to be a hard game to win, but you need to keep building your habits in, week out, and I think this is where you learn the fourth quarter where it gets hard.
It'll all be about effort for the Eagles in this quarter. Quickly, a cash spotted downstairs.
Yeah, the Eagles have made their sub at three-quarter time. Elliot Yeo has been subbed out of the game. Doesn't appear to be injured, so it might have been pre-planned, managed minutes.
Well, knowing that he hasn't been able to play for the last 3 weeks with a calf injury, they've said, you can sit down, Elliot. Make sure that you're here for at least the next couple. What do the numbers tell us, Dave Lindsay?
Melbourne plus 29 in total disposals now, 293 to 264. They lead the mark 64 to 61. The inside 50s 42 to 30, and the ruck hitouts 43 to 21. Oliver up to 25 possessions, 8 clearances, 9 tackles for Clayton Oliver. Petrarca up to 21, Hunter 20. While for West Coast, Kelly 26 and Gaff 20, the only players above 20 possessions.
Davo's in Broome. Can you send a happy birthday to my wife, Nicolette, while listening to the call? No, Dave, absolutely not. Seriously, though, happy birthday, Nicolette. Happy Easter, everybody else. Quarter to play. What can the Demons do for their percentage? What about the Eagles for their pride? Poor bounce. It'll come back to restart. Cash Fodadar again downstairs.
And Melbourne have made their sub as well. Michael Hibberd is out of the game and James Jordan is in.
Thank you, Akash. From the restart, Grundy taps it down. Oh, Oliver bursting through. He takes a bounce. Hand pass onto Grundy. He'll kick towards full forward. Decent battle here. McDonald brings it to ground. Barris first to read the drop. Gathers it, throws it on the boot. Kicks to the left back pocket. Hunt against Langdon. Former Demon in Hunt. Gets beaten by Langdon this time. Comes to Sparrow. Kicks back into the right forward pocket again. Pack of 4 there. Van Rooyen. Oh, the hand pass missed its target in Grundy. Van Rooyen went himself, though, and hand passed it again onto Sparrow. Takes on the tackle. Got a hand pass away, but straight, though, to an Eagle in Williams. Strong tackle a moment ago from Hearn. Kick high up in the air beyond defensive 50. It's marked by right half back. Rivers has it.
Chips it inboard to the substitute, Jordan. Didn't get it run when he was substituting the grand final a couple of years ago. He's got the whole last quarter to impress here. He kicks to full forward. Juggled attempt from McDonald. In the end, Petrarca took it away from him. McDonald's still on the ground. Hand pass comes up to Cole of West Coast. He's upended. Did he get a kick to it? Umpire calls play on. Hard footy to be won. Good work from Williams to work an opponent off the football. Opens the door for the Eagles to sweep it away, although the hand pass puts Kelly under pressure. Gives it back to Rotham. His kick smothered by Langdon. Still inside the 50. Oliver, Spargo, quick hands to Sparrow. Back to Oliver, drops the footy. Petrovski-Seaton collects. He drops it as well. McDonald a hand pass. Off to Sparrow, floats it towards the goal square. Petrarca spun in the tackle, gets a hand pass out. Was that a high tackle on Sparrow? No. Spargo it is, in fact, who's tackled. Messy football. No one prepared to take a shot on goal. We'll get a ball up. Top of the goal square for Melbourne. They still lead it by 49.
I think it might have been without the advantage of a replay. Barris goes up and does the ruck work and wins it down to Williams, who does the roving. Kicks in the middle of the ground. May clever. Tapped it back to Bowie. Goes right back to Lever. Furthest man in defence for the Demons. Still inside the centre square, and he steers it out to the wing where Grundy marks. Brodie Grundy assesses what's ahead of him and looks to flare it out towards right half forward to Langdon. Ed Langdon puts it into the right forward pocket and has too much on the kick. Carries over the head of Sparrow and out of bounds on the full. Free kick to Gaff in the left back pocket. 2.5 gone in this final term. It's still the Demons by 49. Oh, Gaff made a meal of that, looking to bring it back into play. Kick was ineffective. Duggan has to spoil and sees it out of bounds. They've got a little bit lucky then, West Coast. Shot of Elliot Yeo on the big screen downstairs on the bench. Just repeating, he's been subbed out, as the Cash Fodadar told you downstairs. Josh Rotham into action for the Eagles.
Grundy takes clean possession but couldn't get much boot on ball. Still 50 out from goal. Oliver virtually throws it over his shoulder. Towards Spargo. Was he driven into the ground with the tackle? Not this time. Ball up 40 metres out. Hibberd subbed out for Melbourne as well at three-quarter time, with James Jordan coming into the game. Umpire to toss it in the air. Williams opposed to Van Rooyen. Williams knocks it boundary side. Spargo again working hard at ground level. Shoveling a hand pass out towards Pickett. Lays it off to Langdon up against the boundary. Tries to bounce it towards the goal square. It skips past all players. Gets out the back door, and Edwards is there for West Coast to clear. Sits it on top of the head of West. Ball gets to the back. Chance for Chandler. They all stay off him, and that allows him to just choose from 3 or 4 options. Petrarca marking on the lead. A little stutter step. Not called to play on. And now we can go back and have a shot from right on the 50.
They just covered off really well. In that instance, it was Brayshaw. Covered off an exit for West Coast to come out the fat side, and a nice low ball into Petrarca there, who will have a set shot.
9 possessions in the third quarter for Petrarca after 12 to half time. And now a chance to kick his second goal. Just crosses the 50. Hooks it a little off the boot. It starts to swing back, and it's there. 2 for Petrarca. Melbourne have 4 multiple goal kickers. Although the goal umpire, I think, wants to have a quick chat with the field umpire, and we might be going upstairs for confirmation. Well, it does appear that most players are heading back for a centre bounce. The soft signal is a goal. And we'll go through this whole process again of multiple camera angles that probably don't tell us a whole lot. We'll wait for Snicko to tell us whether there was a little nick or not. But to most people out there on the ground, it appeared to be a goal to Petrarca.
Off the boot, I thought it had swung, and then it swung back.
Definitely swung inside out. Is there a flat line? Oh, there's a little bump. The bump seems to come well after the ball passes the goalpost. Let's wait on the signal on the scoreboard. It's a goal. So after all that, it confirms what we suspected in the first place. 2 goals to Petrarca, 15 for Melbourne. 5 minutes into the last quarter, they're 15-9-99. West Coast to 6-8-44. You listen to Grandson AFL from Perth Stadium. Cara Antonio and Bo McDonald, your experts.
They absorbed a lot of that pressure, the Eagles, didn't they? A number of re-entries, and then, as I mentioned, the Ds just work hard to the outside to cut off that outlet and that exit for them, and the re-entry, lower the eyes, when they didn't bomb it in, and Petrarca does what he does best, goes back and kicks truly.
I like this from Dave, listening in South Melbourne. Sends us a text, 0437 774 774. Some of us listeners are so old we can remember when Yo, Lever and May played for different clubs. Don't have to be that old, to be fair, Dave. But thank you for listening and sending us a text. Poor bounce. But I would still argue that wouldn't have gone outside of the centre circles. It's not a great bounce, but the Rucks have been able to contest it. They should have just let that play. It's almost like the umpires are trying to suggest to everyone, we need to get rid of the bounce, just throw it up. Grundy wins the tap down the second time. Sorry, I'm cynical on that one. Over the top of it, Langdon tries to get it away. Cully shoveled it out for the Eagles to Williams, to Gaff, who then moves it forward to the logo, to Jones, who gets a bouncing kick that West can't quite take because he's been held by Lever, and he'll get the free kick. It's going to be about 65 from goal. 55 points currently Melbourne's lead. Ball in the hand of the Eagles. Here's Connor West. Looks to put it up into the left forward pocket. Allen had 2 to beat. Can't mark. Brings it to ground. Clark's there to Long. Eagles have it through Allen. Hand pass back to Gav. Hand pass to Duggan. 51 out from goal. Left half forward. Kicks back the full forward. Coming out to Mark Hunt. Read it well. Got to the drop. Leapt in the air. Was still able to mark on his chest. Pretty much straight in front. And he can kick from no more than 30.
I think that was Hunter that almost pushed him into that mark. This will be good for him against his old side. He's been good the last couple of weeks. Just needs to convert.
The former Demon, Jaden Hunt, kicks the goal. His 4th of the season. He's 4th in Eagles colours. He's first against his old team. West Coast cut that margin back again to under 50 points. 15-9-99 the Demons. The Eagles 7-8-50. 8 gone in the last. Grandstand AFL. Clint Wilden with you alongside Dave Lindsay. Our experts Cara Antonio and Bo McDonald.
Going back to the bounce in the centre, Bo, what's your take?
My take, get rid of the circle, bring back the bounce.
Okay, there we go.
What about the rubber pad?
No, the big Sean Wren doesn't want that back. He cashed in on that.
He did too in Adelaide.
I reckon they've got to get rid of the circle in the middle, let the rucks go back to coming and banging in, and then the midfield, with all sorts of different things start to happen.
Question for Cara. You were an assistant coach with Subiaco yesterday. No bounce in the waffle. Did you notice it?
I didn't personally. Zach Clark might have.
We'll get down to a cash in a moment. Some news, I think, from the Melbourne bench as the Demons charge forward. A long kick from Sparrow towards full forward, and a great grab down there In defence by Rotham. The substitute elevating above the pack to take a fine mark. Kicks long towards half-back. West on the charge. Doesn't get there in time. Hunter marking at the second bite on the chest. He's too far out to score here, Lockie Hunter. Kicks laterally to find Rivers. Still won't be able to register a score from this sort of distance, about 75 metres out. East Fremantle product. Lays it up to the top of the goal square. McDonald sets himself. Oh, big shove. A big bump by Fritsch trying to get rid of an opponent, and Barras went sprawling. He'll get the free kick. A cash down on the boundary.
Yeah, Jake Lever hobbled off a couple of minutes ago, and the doctor and physio appear to be looking at a left foot, left ankle issue.
Eagles move it to left half back, where Waterman kicks long and high towards centre wing, out of side. Darling worked May out from under the football, took the mark, played on to Duggan, hands it back towards Darling, goes short. Clark couldn't mark, or Hoff couldn't either. Hit him on the chest. I think he was expecting Clark to get it. Spilled down though to Neil Bullen. Melbourne have it again. They move it to Spargo. And a metre in from the boundary, southern wing. Looks to play on. And then chips it to Chandler. Jumps up in the air. He's got plenty of friends around him. Hands it off to Oliver. Kicks into the left forward pocket. The ball will bounce. Comes to Fritsch. Try to tap it over his own shoulder to his own advantage. The bounce, though, it favoured Barras. He's able to gather. Goes beyond defensive 50. Carries over West. He's got an opponent to beat, and Sparrow wins it. Short by a hand for the Demons to Brayshaw. Back to Chandler. Comes back to the logo on the commentary wing to Rivers.
Centering kick. Uses it nicely. Spargo marks alongside the centre circles. Had a couple of runners going by. Ignored both of those. Now goes for a run himself. Kicks to the pocket. Fritsch the target. Goes up one-handed. Rotham did enough to knock him off the line of the footy. West comes through, can't take possession. Viney takes it cleanly. Hand pass to Chandler. Ducking and diving. He hands it off to Hunter. Up against the boundary. 48 out. Long kick to the top of the goal square. Rotham up high. Can't take the mark. Langdon does well. Emerges with the football. Hand pass back to Jordan from 35 out. Doesn't get the bend on the snap. Goal umpire and boundary umpire have a short conversation. One behind. The D's bring up the ton. They are double the Eagles' score. 15-10-100 plays 7-8-50. 11 and a half minutes gone in the final term here at Perth Stadium.
Off goes Cole on the run. Kicks towards left half back. Oh, Coley drops what he should have taken. No damage done. Jones was there to mop up for the Eagles. Hand pass to Long. Hand pass to Jinby. Under pressure. Hand pass at the bootstraps of Kelly. He's good enough to pick it up. Sweeps it forward. Now into Hewitt. Oh, tackled and then driven back into the ground by Viney. Don't think his head was the first point of contact, so I think the tackle was okay. They're going to ball it up. Let's have another look on the replay. He did lift him off the ground for a second and then really put him down onto his shoulder. Interesting to see what those in charge, the match review officer, will make of that as Melbourne kick the ball to the outer side from the restart. Cole gathers, Sparrow tackles him, and that's holding the ball. Cole unable to get rid of it cleanly. Free kick to Melbourne. Centre wing, southern side of Perth Stadium. The Demons lead by 50 points, 13 gone in the last.
Tom Sparrow. 18 Melbourne Premiership players out there today. Kicks towards half forward. McDonald the target. Getting up in front was Clark to get a fingertip to it. Williams with a hand pass. Back to Jones. Shrugs one tackle. Takes on the second tackler and loses the footy. Holding the ball, and Tom McDonald will get the free kick. He's had some sort of day, Tom McDonald. 4 goals. A little stint in the ruck earlier as well. Short kick to Bowie. Centres it to the centre corridor, and Petty wants to switch it towards left half forward. Brayshaw was getting into his move before he took his mark. Goes back and recovers the footy. Now has to kick out wide to Hunter. Shape to kick. Hunt left the mark. He hadn't been called to stand as yet. And Hunter's not called to play on, so he switches back inboard to Brayshaw once more. Still 65 out from goal. Back into the corridor for May. Every player except for Petty is in front of May, so he goes straight up the middle. Towards full forward, McDonald from behind, makes the spoil on Duggan. Duggan swats it away. Cully takes the footy, hands it away straight to Oliver. Tries to get a hand pass away while he's in mid-air. Viney at ground level wins it out. Jordan dragged off the football, doesn't have it. He'll get the free kick. Eagles fans want holding the ball. I'm not sure Jordan ever really had full possession of that football, and Duggan slinging him to ground gives away the free kick.
Well, it's a hot footy at the moment. few tired men out there in the Eagles jumpers, hands on hips. It's been a high-pressured game.
Hand passes it away, Jordan, to May from the front edge of the centre square. Kicks to the pocket, and McDonald just lent into Barras. Had him off balance. And Tom McDonald can go back and have a shot for his 5th goal from about 25 out.
And as I mentioned that, the ball got handed off. Eagles defenders, hands on hips. Just weren't ready. Ball watching, and an easy kick to the advantage of Tom McDonald.
He has kicked 5 against the Eagles once before. Melbourne's leading goal kicker in 2018. Back to his best this afternoon, but that kick left a bit to be desired, hanging out to the right, so we're behind. 51 points, Melbourne's lead. 15-11 plays 7-8 midway through the last quarter.
Any thoughts on this tackle? With Viney, he's raised him up and has taken him down to ground. If Hewitt hasn't been able to stick out his arm from the replay, that could have been nasty. Anything to be worried about? What do you think?
Well, I think you need to look at the action, and the action isn't great. But at this point, we all look at the the match review panel looks at the outcome, unfortunately. So, yeah, you don't like to see that in our game.
The Eagles move it towards the southern wing. Spills down off hands. Clark gets a hand pass away to Jimmy. West Coast have it. Comes to Edwards. Kelly was monstered the moment he got it by Jordan. Ball hits the deck on the logo. I know this is silly, but I love that Jordan wears 23. I'm just putting that out there. I just think it's fantastic. Thrown up again. Grundy wins it down for the Demons. Comes out to Langdon. Got it in turn to Bowie. Was tackled by Petreski-Seaton. Was able to get a ball away. Jordan tackled too. Got it to May. May hurried it forward. Racing through Bowie. Was calm. Under real pressure. To Lever. McVee kicks in the direction of Viney, who got crunched by Barras, who followed up and gathered the footy for West Coast. Kicks back inside attacking 50. Lever up defensively. Wins it down. McVee has shown composure beyond his years at times today. Back again to Brayshaw at fullback. Kicks towards left halfback. They switch play here. Fritsch has it. Sends it down the line to Chandler. Chandler's got McDonald on in the left forward pocket if he wants him. Instead he goes across half forward. Finds Petrarca who marks. Petrarca long towards full forward. Van Rooyen there. And he's been paid the free kick. He had enough purchase on it almost to be paid a mark. Barras, in a despairing effort to spoil, has taken him to ground. Van Rooyen will be kicking from deep at left full forward. Looking for his second goal. So much potential. Van Rooyen wheels around, dobs it through. He's got 2. The Demons, they've kicked their 16th. 16-11, 107. The Eagles are 7-8-50. 17 gone in the last on Grandstand AFL. A couple of text messages about our discussion about the bounce. Eric from 2J, for example, just one of them. Remove it and you say goodbye to all the history. They have taken it away from the WAFL. It won't be in action in the state-based competition here in WA this year, the waffle competition. So I would say, with the AFL not saying anything about that, the bounce, it might not be dead, but it's in palliative care.
Yeah, well, there's a couple of ways to look at it. We need umpires, and if it's keeping umpires out of the game, well, I can understand we want to get them through the ranks, but get rid of the circle, keep the bounce.
2 goals for Van Rooyen. Wearing the number 2 for Melbourne, famous number, of course, Robbie Flower, but more importantly for the ABC, Clint, Shane Woden, Brownlow medalist.
Yes, exactly.
I'm sure he's listening in, probably in one of the corporate boxes here today. The Eagles get the centre in clearance towards their attacking 50. Oscar Allen battling for the football down there. Petreski-Seaton applies a tackle on Viney. It comes out to Rivers. He gives a hand pass off to Brayshaw. Very short chip pass to Neil Bullen. Called a play on. Didn't travel 15. Just about took it over the line. A hand pass to Rivers. Back towards Petrarca, who swats it to Neil Bullen. Dragged off the footy. Everyone stops. No free kick. Edwards picks up the loose footy. Chip pass to Allen. He kicks inboard and misses the target. Stephen May inside defensive 50. A hand pass to Petrarca. Throws on the boot. Goes straight to the chest of Long. 60 out. Pokes a kick to the pocket. Lever up in front of Waterman. And he'll get a free kick for some interference in the marking contest. Lever says, let's slow it down. And then immediately kicks across the face of goal and finds Langdon.
Langdon for the Demons. Former Docker, the Chandler. Kicks out in the direction of Sparrow, who marks. He's got McVie racing by. Goes further downfield than that. To Fritsch. Hand pass over the top to McDonald. He'll get a kick inside forward 50. And Royan, he applies the Shepherd, allows the ball to bounce through to Pickett, who gathers and puts it through for the easiest of goals. Cozzy Pickett at last. He's got a major. Back in the team this week. And he was involved in so many goals. And after 5 behinds, now has a major to his name. Melbourne 17-11, 113. The Eagles 7-8-50, 19 gone in the final term. Melbourne's lead is out to a game-high 63 points. The crowd today, 42,458.
Not too sure what Shannon Hearn was doing there when there was pressure from behind. He came up and it was just an out. He created the outnumber for Melbourne off his own back. And as you said, Cozzy Pickett, he's been close and finally he's hit the scoreboard. 1 goal 5 today.
3 goals to 1 in the last quarter for the Demons. Van Rooyen doing the ruck work. Edwards takes the clearance away. Kicks towards half forward. Petrucci-Seaton delivers to Darling on the lead. Stephen May going to ground in the early tangle of bodies before Darling took off on the lead. And Jack Darling can have a shot from directly in front, 30 metres out.
Finally a mark inside 50 to a leading forward, all but with the defender losing his feet, but really good kick out to advantage.
Just 1 behind so far for Jack Darling this afternoon. And he's pushed this out to the right and missed again. Hasn't been his day, Jack Darling. 10 possessions and 2 behinds for the Eagles forward, and Melbourne's lead is now 62 points, 21 minutes played in the last quarter.
May to Oliver. To May again. Kicks towards the commentary wing. Hearn brings it down. Fritsch is there though for the Demons. Came out towards Hunter, who hand-passed it into the legs of the Eagles subbing Josh Rotham. And then in bad news for Rotham, it's ricocheted away out of bounds on the full. So the Demons will get the free kick between left half back and centre wing. Under the former Bulldog on a bit of a run inboard and sends the kick to Lever. Marks in his defensive 50. Out to May, marking it right half back. He's got runners with him if he wants. He'll kick it instead towards right half forward. Langdon is able to turn and mark on his chest. He's 2 kicks from goal and goes inboard to Bowie. He's got options on in the centre square if he wants them. May's also there on the logo nearby. He gets told to play on. Takes a couple of steps, puts it into the right forward pocket. He wants McDonald, had 2 to beat. The Eagles flew. Neil Bullen got there at the back, held by Waterman as he picked up the football. Still been locked into him. Umpire's circle. Ball comes out the side. Pickett gathers. Riding him into the ground was Gaff. Almost like one of those fucking Bronco machines you see. Comes out towards Waterman. He's tackled by Neil Bullen. Kick goes up in the air as he got it away. Hoff tackled by Petrarca. Still tough stuff. And the umpires have spotted a free kick. It's going the way of the Demons, holding the ball. Hoff not making enough of an effort to get rid of it, according to the officials. Here's a chance for Petrarca to go back and kick what would be his second.
What the Melbourne Demons have been able to do this second half is they just really access their shape and get the ball out the other side of the ground and then keep possession. And you shouldn't be able to switch the ball all the way over the other side of the ground, go down the wing and take a mark goal side of your opponent. And that's just happened a fair bit. You've got time to roll around and help out there, and the Eagles just haven't been able to do that.
Christian Petrarca, 3 times an All-Australian. Norm Smith medalist on this ground, and he kicks his 3rd. From 40 out in the right forward pocket, he kicks the Demons 18th. He puts their lead out to 68 points. 18-11, 119. West Coast 7-9-51. 24 gone in the final term. On Grandstand AFL earlier today, the Bombers by 13 points over the Giants.
I think he had a few kind words to say to the Eagles fans sitting there giving him some words of advice before he put that one through. What a star. I think we mentioned halfway through that second quarter. He'd only had the 9 touches, and he's ended up with the 28 and 3 goals, 3 clearances, 4 inside 50s, 8 marks. An absolute star. You can't keep a star down, and he's been able to work his way into this game.
Like we said at the start, Cara, they go for 4 quarters, these blokes,
Absolutely.
these A-grade midfielders, and it's just a great lesson for the young Jimbies and Elijah Hewitts of the world. It's a great lesson for them.
Going to be Melbourne's 7th win at the venue from 10 attempts. They've got the best winning percentage of any AFL club at Perth Stadium. Be up to 70% after today as Viney gets the clearance out of the middle, long towards half forward. Barras with the spoil, follows up and wins it at ground level. Edwards now receiving the hand pass, but his hand pass goes behind Hunt, puts it on the boot, but straight to Oliver. 55 out, hand pass to McDonald. His hand pass inboard, chopped off by Williams. Loose footy goes Melbourne's way. Van Rooyen floats one over the top to Petrarca. He's got eyes in the back of his head. Pokes the kick into the pocket where Spargo's all by himself. Has so much time to think of all the options, and then in the end goes back 40 metres. He finds Bowie 70 metres out from goal. Centering ball will be chopped off. They've been too cute here, Melbourne. Kelly now breaks away with the footy. Kicks out wide and finds Waterman on the outer wing.
Waterman for the Eagles, pauses, sends it to Kelly, outer edge of the centre square, pomps it short to West, running by him's Waterman, receives it on the outside, spears it inside forward 50, Petreski-Seaton. Reckon about half the crowd is stuck around, those wearing blue and gold, and they give Petreski-Seaton a big cheer. Can he but go back and kick what would be his first of the season? Just his second in Eagles colours. Peroxide top. It's a different sort of hairstyle. Petreski-Seaton though kicks the goal. West Coast have 8. 8-9-57 the Eagles. The Demons still well in control. 18-11, 119. Melbourne still in front by 62 points. 26 gone in the final term on Grandstand AFL from Perth Stadium.
Just smart from Tim Kelly, obviously, to create that turnover and read it off the boot of the Melbourne player, but to slow the ball down because he had absolutely nothing to kick to. Let his West Coast Eagles teammates and forwards work back into the space, and then again another great lead to the foot. Instead of bombing it in, we're able to hit a target and get a mark inside forward 50 and a nice finish.
So playing out time here in the final term. Oliver with a soccer kick off the deck. It doesn't go very far. Williams paddles towards Hewitt. He gets a hand pass away to Gaff. Releases Kelly. Shoulders out towards goal. Sends it goalward from 40 metres and he's kicked it. 2 for Tim Kelly. Another outstanding performance from him in a losing effort. 35 possessions for Tim Kelly. Over 700 metres gained, 10 inside 50s and now 2 goals. And Melbourne's lead is cut to within 10 goals. It's Melbourne 18-11, 119. West Coast to 9-9-63. We played 27 minutes in the last quarter.
Yeah, well, a couple in junk time there for the Eagles, but just forcing it forward out the front door from the centre bounce. You see how crucial the centre bounce can be now with the 6-6-6. You don't have your half forwards coming up to the side of the wing and getting in there and blocking up that space. So if you can just keep knocking that ball forward and then a little sideways knock into the lane to the blokes running past, it can really open up, and that's what we saw there.
Attendance has been made official, 42,458. It's put on the big scoreboard here at Perth Stadium as the Eagles win the clearance again. Comes from Kelly to Clark to Williams. Kicks in the direction of Petreski-Seaton. Go out-pointed by McVee, who wants to continue on. Judd McVee dragged it down and then hand-passed to Langdon. Running by the Demons. Send it deep in towards Pickett. Jordan, his kick was precise into the left forward pocket and Pickett marks.
Well done, Judd McVee there. Had to go, had to have an impact on the contest. And not only did he have an impact, he was able to come out of it with it and get him going forward. That was terrific play by a young player.
Cozzy Pickett, 1 goal, 5 for the afternoon. Had his hand in a number of majors. Tighter than a 45-degree angle to the left. He'll kick from 40 out. Looked all right off the boot. It's sailing through. 2 for Pickett. West Coast They kick back-to-back goals, but that little run comes to a sudden halt as the Demons kick their 19th. 19-11, 125 to West Coast, 9-9-63. 29 minutes gone in the final term. Melbourne's lead is back to 62.
Well, he's been really good Pickett today. I know he had the 5 points up until a couple of moments ago, and he's been able to kick a couple truly, but he's a really good inclusion for them. We mentioned at the start of the call, he's the barometer up forward. He's had those 5 tackles as well, and a number of clean ground ball pickups to create options and opportunities for his teammates.
Both teams heading to Adelaide next weekend for gather rounds. Melbourne get a crack at Essendon on Saturday. Meanwhile, West Coast will also be at Adelaide Oval against Geelong. That match on Sunday. As the Eagles get the centre clearance this time, but Melbourne across halfback win the footy. There's a holding free kick. It'll go Melbourne's way. An advantage is paid as Jordan kicks out towards our broadcast side wing, finding Hunter, who shapes the kicking board. Decides not to. Goes backwards by a hand to Bowie. But nowhere to go. Pokes a kick into some space. Jordan coming across makes it good. Picking up on the bounce does very nicely. Hand pass further afield to Hunter again. Drills the pass towards Fritsch. And Fritsch sprinting on the lead, marking 48 from goal.
There's an issue with the time here.
I noticed that, yeah.
The clock on the scoreboard says 30 minutes and 16 seconds. The TV clock's 30 minutes and 40 seconds. And the clock that we normally go off on our Champion Data laptop has just stopped.
And there's normally a countdown clock there, and that's gone. The countdown clock on the TV is not available either. I'm sure the timekeepers have all got it under control. They press the button on the siren as Fritsch sends it goalward. And we might get a score review after the siren here, because a couple of Eagles have leapt on the line. They might be a hand on it. McDonald reckons it's a goal. He's given the signal in case the goal umpire's not sure. There's a discussion between the field umpire and the goal umpire. Soft signals are behind. Looks like a behind on the scoreboard. We reckon it might be Melbourne to finish double the Eagles' score. We'll wait to see what the official final score is. A lot of Eagles fans have seen enough. They're walking out anyway, and it looks as though we'll finish with a behind. And Melbourne will be double the Eagles' score and win it by 63 points. So you'll get a little cheer from the Eagles fans, and then they'll go quiet as the Melbourne song will start up. And the D's fans have had a lot of success here in Perth over recent seasons. They expected a win today, and that's exactly what they've got. It's Melbourne by 63 points over the Eagles at Perth Stadium.
It's a grand old flag, it's a high-flying flag, it's the emblem for me and for you. It's the emblem of the team we love, the team of the red and the blue. Every heart beats true for the red and the blue, and we sing this song to you. Should all acquaintance be forgot, keep your eye on the red and the blue.
They've won their past 6 now at Perth Stadium, the Demons. It's truly a home away from home. They led by 17 points at quarter time, by 24 at the half, had the lead out to 49 by three-quarter time before going on to win by 63 points. The Demons, they pick up their 3rd win of the year. They're 3-1 after 4 games. Another thumping victory for the Demons in the West.
It's a grand old flag, it's a high-flying flag, it's the emblem for me and for you. It's the emblem of the team we love, the team of the red and the blue. Every heart beats true for the red and the blue, and we sing this song to you. Should all acquaintance be forgot, keep your eye on the red and the blue.
Tom McDonald kicked 4 goals after coming back into the side. He was omitted from Melbourne's last game against Sydney. On return, he found the major opening. 4 goals to him. Bailey Fritsch with 3. Cozzy Pickett back in the team from suspension, kicked 2. Charlie Spargo with a couple as well. Also for Melbourne, singles to Van Rooyen, Petrarca, Viney, Neil Bullen and Chandler. While for West Coast, Oscar Allen kicked 3. Tim Kelly got a couple. And there were singles to West, to Long and Petreski Seaton. Melbourne victorious 19-12, 126 to the Eagles 9-9-63. With you for another 25 minutes here on Grandstand AFL from Perth Stadium. One game to come tomorrow to wrap up round 4, Easter round. Geelong versus Hawthorn. We'll have full coverage of that for you wherever you're currently listening. Earlier today, the Bombers by 13. But the Demons, as ridiculous as this may sound, as happy as Melbourne would be with that win, I reckon if you're West Coast at the start of the day, you'd be happy with the effort that you showed across the 4 quarters. And to not go down by more than 11 goals, Adam Simpson won't believe a word of this, and he certainly won't say it publicly, was not a bad performance from this side, forced to make 7 changes, 6 of them youngsters, so many key players out of the side against one of the favourites, and I would still say the favourite to win the competition in 2023. It was always going to be a challenge for West Coast, and they stuck at it grimly. But to the winners, the spoils, Melbourne will take the 4 points back to the east. What have you made of things? Bo McDonald, Cara Antonio, our experts today on Grandstand AFL.
Oh, well, yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head, Clint. The Eagles were in it for a big period of time. You know, the Demons were always going to probably run out winners. It was just a matter of how much in the end, but from an Eagles point of view, from a coaching staff point of view, and definitely from a fan base point of view, you'd be happy with the effort and the way at which West Coast want to play is clearly evident this year, which we haven't really seen in previous seasons. They want to play an exciting brand of footy. They want their young kids to get ball in hand, and they want to get the ball in quickly, which we saw today, which you'd be proud of as an Eagles supporter sitting in the grandstands, knowing that's what, you know, this next generation of young stars are going to jump on board. So Melbourne, clearly the much better team for the 4 quarters, dominated that 3rd quarter and were able to get on top in the last. But the Eagles hit the scoreboard late, which means that, you know, that never say die attitude's still there, and they still want to fight up until that final siren, which would be very pleasing for the coaching staff.
Yeah, look, I think the Eagles, we definitely saw that running game that they want to play, especially in that first half. So I suppose you'd go back and review the game and look, okay, how were Melbourne able to stop us from getting that in the second half? Because there certainly wasn't as much of it from Jones and Hunt and the likes. Gaff, they weren't sort of getting those link-ups. Melbourne done really well, I thought, at the contest there in the 3rd quarter, and just winning that inside contested possession and getting the ball down into their forward half of the ground. And then there was a little period of time there where the Eagles too, I think they could take some learnings about, you know, bringing the ball out the back line as well.
Melbourne making their way down into the rooms, victorious by 63 points over the West Coast Eagles. Let's head down there now, Akash Fodadar.
Thanks, Quint. Yeah, you can hear the applause as the team comes through. A little bit of a guard of honour from some of the support staff, and there's also lots of family and friends here behind the rope to welcome the team in. The injured skipper Max Gawn is high-fiving every one of his teammates as they come in, and plenty of smiles in this Melbourne room as they feel like they've come over here and sort of got the job done that they needed to. So they're just circling up and getting themselves ready for the song now. Here they go.
We'll head back down into the Demons' rooms as soon as we can for an interview for you. Also, chance to read some text messages out, 0437 774 774 if you want to touch base. I'm always amazed where people listen. Big g'day to Drew from Florida in the US, listening before the kids wake up. His brother's at the game. Go D's, he said. I understand trying to sneak in a bit of sport before the kids wake up. Trust me, I absolutely know what you're saying. Nick's from Torrensville says, "G'day, great to hear you all on the ABC. No free-to-air footy in Adelaide today, so the radio's been on all day. Thank goodness for the ABC." Thank you for listening wherever you happen to be as well. And a couple of Tasmanian listeners, Gail for one, and then another listening in Upper S, Tasmania. It's about an hour east of Launceston. Go D's. A quick team meeting downstairs will be happening, and then Christian Petrarca will join us after his performance today. A couple of goals. How many disposals did Petrarca have for the day? 29. I did laughingly say at half-time he'd had a quiet day by his standards. It had been, but then, goodness me. The Guns, they know when to perform. We had to leap away for the team song, Bo and Cara. So any other thoughts, particularly on the Demons? We sort of touched on West Coast and a valiant performance, a gallant performance by them today, but the Demons did what they needed to do.
Yeah, look, I certainly don't think Melbourne are playing their best footy. You remember seeing Melbourne at their best, and they just looked a lot quicker across the ground in both defence and offence. But we're seeing bits and pieces of it. Yeah, it's early in the season, but I think, getting Cozzy Pickett back, obviously he didn't kick as many goals as you want, but that's going to be a big plus for them going forward. And Melbourne's pressure game, we saw it in parts there. But the Eagles stood up to them. I think Brodie Grundy didn't really have his dominance in the ruck that I maybe thought he did, and Williams competed really well. He's actually really quite athletic, Williams, and they... so look, for Melbourne, they're really hard games, these. You've got to come all the way over the other side of the country, but you've still got to get the job done. And I suppose that'll be the pleasing thing. You'd probably just review a little bit of, how are the Eagles getting a bit of run on us there in the second quarter. But I think going forward for the D's, you just want to get on the plane, or we're going to South Australia, I suppose, and get into gather round and move on and take the win. Anytime you can come over to Western Australia and beat the Eagles or the Dockers, it's not an easy thing to do, no matter where they are on the ladder.
No, I reckon you're right, Bo. We haven't seen the dominating performances. Well, we didn't today for 4 quarters for Melbourne. There was parts of that game that no doubt the coaching staff will go back and assess. And for me, it was just the cleanliness at ground level, a bit of fumble, drop marks and things that they would have, swallowed in previous years. So, yeah, I mean, you pay kudos to the Eagles for applying that pressure, but no doubt that the D's will go back and have a look at the tape and try and fine-tune a few things coming in to gather round. The one for me is, I mentioned it a few times, Tom McDonald stepped in really nicely for Ben Brown, who obviously missed and kicked the 4 goals, was a presence, had to go back a few times due to Lever coming off with a sore foot. And he was able to hit the scoreboard quite convincingly. Took 6 marks as well, 3 of those inside forward 50, and got his teammates involved as well. So there's a number of positives, I think, from both sides. But the other one is Elliot Yeo getting minutes into his legs for the Eagles, which will be a really big positive for them as well.
Let's go down into the Melbourne rooms. He kicked 3 today. He was tremendous. Christian Petrarca is alongside Akash Fodder. Akash.
Thanks, Clint. Yeah, Christian, I guess a slower start to the game by your standards, then really built into it nicely after half-time, kicking those 3 goals. How did you feel you've sort of built through the game today?
Yeah, it was an interesting one. I think credit to West Coast. I think their pressure and contest around the ball was unbelievable, and their mids really worked hard both ways. So for us, or for me personally, I was just trying to feel the game out a little bit. I don't like to start slow. I like to get going from the get-go. So it's something I need to work on. But I feel like for me that's that mid-forward role, and I think we've got so many guys going through there as well. So it's not just carrying the load anymore. I think we've got guys like Tom Sparrow and James Jordan who came on the last quarter, and Clayton's an absolute freak in there. So, and Vines as well. So it's good to have a fair few guys go in there.
Were you or Clayton Oliver getting any extra attention in the middle from some of the Eagles mids?
Yeah, there's a few boys. I feel like around stoppages, because we've probably got a dominant ruck in Brodie and sometimes Gorney, that we're probably always going to have someone on our back. So for us, it's really good practice. But around stoppages, we knew that Kelly as well is playing unbelievable for him the last 4 weeks, so all 3 weeks, and today. So for us, we need to recognise that too around centre bounces as well. And Bailey Williams is a good tap ruckman around the ground. So I think from our structure and stoppage stuff, we just need to stick to our method, and eventually we came away with it.
Now, you've won a premiership and a Norm Smith medal, of course, on this ground. Does it feel like a bit of a home away from home when you come to Perth Stadium?
Well, it does for me. My nonna's one of 11 and 7 of them over here in Mount Lawleys, which is there's a few laughs in there. It's Italian area, I guess. So for me, I've always come here growing up as a kid, and I absolutely love it here. I love the beaches. So I've signed a 7-year deal, so I'm not coming over. But I absolutely love it here. And for us, we walked in and we got off the plane, and it did feel a little bit like 2021. It was just an amazing feeling. We always come back here, and something that obviously probably will never happen before. Fingers crossed with all the COVID stuff. But it was an amazing spectacle, 2021, and coming back here every year to where we create history is really special.
Great. I'll send you upstairs for some questions with Clint Wheeldon, Dave Lindsay, Cara Antonio and Bo McDonald.
Oh, g'day, Christian. Well done today. It's Bo McDonald here. Mate, I'm really interested to pick your brain. You've got the 2 All-Australian ruckmen in there with you as a midfielder. Obviously, you've got that connection with Gorney, but how's it been with Brodie Grundy in there, and do you do a lot of work on that sort of stuff?
Yeah, he's been amazing. I think off the field, his culture and his experience at Collingwood and what he's brought over, just as a person, I think has been amazing. And I think his football as well. It's, he's played 4 games this year, but the last time he played a game was Anzac Day Eve last year. So he's had a fair stint out, and I think what he's shown to our team is just amazing. And he's a bit different to Gorney in the way they ruck. Gorney's a bit more of a tap ruckman. Brodie's more of a work around the ground, like an extra midfielder, but his tap work is coming in leaps and bounds as well. And I think having them both, where we do take it for granted a little bit, sometimes we do cheat out a little bit, where we probably should be crafting a little bit more. But no, they've both been amazing, and obviously Gorney as well. When he comes back, it's going to be pretty scary. Yeah,
can you tell us a bit about Jacob Van Rooyen, the West Australian boy? It was great to see him kick a couple of goals back in his home state today.
Yeah, he's a ripper, Rui. He's been amazing. He's someone that came in last year and as a young player, just crushed packs. And I think the best thing about him is I think a lot of our guys, like the ability to learn and train off other players. And he gets to play on Stephen May every single game, every single day at training, and Jake Lever and Harrison Petty. And I think for him to go through that, and May's a 2-time All-Australian, it's pretty amazing. So for him, he's been able to learn that, and he went away this year, and so did Judd McVie and Taj, all the Perth boys, and got extremely fit, and he's come back and he's been amazing. So it's all we to ask these young boys, just to come back, just develop and learn, and he's been on fire, which is awesome.
Christian, Cara Antonio here. Incredible win and in individual performance by yourself. I've got a question about Cozzy Pickett. I love him up forward. He's obviously spent the last couple of weeks on the sidelines, but how has he been at training? Has he been itching? He looks like a little Energizer bunny out in the track on the field. How's he been at training? Has he been itching to get back?
No, as Cozzy calls it, he kicks back. He chills out. He's someone that he just lets his football do the talking. I was fortunate to live with Cozzy and for a year, and felt like a father figure to him a little bit. He's amazing. He's an absolute all-time person and player. And the 2 weeks, obviously, he probably knew of all people was disappointing that he missed that, because he just loves football. But for him to come back and slot straight into our team, kick 2 goals, play in the midfield, and play forward, he's a scary scary player. And at training, he turns it on. So I don't reckon I've ever tackled him, to be honest. He's pretty hard to tackle.
Christian, what does the rest of this next week look like for you guys? Obviously heading, all roads head to South Australia for Gather Round next weekend. It's going to be something a little bit different and exciting. Does the week look different for you guys, or is it just straight back to Melbourne tonight?
I think we're catching the red eye home tonight, so we'll be home at 5:30 a.m. in the morning. 6-day break, so we'll fly over to Adelaide on probably the day before the game, so Friday. So it is a short turnaround, but Gather Round, it's exciting, which is awesome. So Adelaide Oval is another place where we played our finals as well, which is a place that we love as well. So it's going to be good fun. It's different. Obviously, we've never had a Gather Round before, so it's going to be interesting to see. But I can't wait. I don't mind the short turnarounds. When you pull up pretty well after games, it comes around quick, which is what you want.
Christian, Dave Lindsay here. Just interested to know about the footy club's plan for this season. Obviously, last year, 10 wins straight to start off, and then things probably went a little bit pear-shaped from then on. Obviously, still made it through to the finals, but probably not playing your best footy at the right time of the year. Do you change the structure of your season the way you build into it? Are you looking to peak at the right time this time around?
Not necessarily, to be honest. I think we just kind of take each season as it comes. We would love to start 10-0. I mean, that's absolutely gold. But each season's completely different. We need to respect each game as they come. We understand the competitions is becoming better and better, and each team, today's game the scoreline doesn't reflect how hard that game was. It was a hard game. So for us, obviously we've talked about it over the off season in terms of injury management loads and stuff like that, and if we're up and stuff, resting bars. But I don't think anything's changing, to be honest. I think we're actually going to go even harder, to be honest, because we love playing footy and that's what we do as a job.
You've been to the top of the mountain, Christian. You know what it takes to get there, and you know what a great start you had last year. How do you think you're placed at the moment? Simplistically, great start, 3-1, but where do you feel you're at the moment as a football club?
Oh, look, I'm not going to shut you down here, but it's round 4. It's a long season. As you guys said before, we started 10 and zip. It's a long season, and we need to take each week as it comes. I hope to think we're up there, to be honest. I mean, we've started 3-1, which is awesome, and I feel like, again, each year is completely different. We've had some adversity early on against the Brizzy game, and something that we look back on and hopefully will help hold us in good stead. But for me, last year in 2021, I love coming to the footy club. I love the boys. I love Goody. I love the coaches. They've just created an environment where I love coming to work. It's so much fun. 44 boys. We get to train out on the track each day, and they're like my best mates. And hang around Clayton Oliver and stuff like that, and Jack Viney is just really special. So for me, I don't take it for granted. It is a long season, so trying to switch off. I've actually picked up golf. I don't know how I'm going to go. Italians don't really play golf, so it's going to be interesting to see that.
Well, they do at Mount Lawley Golf Club, Christian. They're all right. Trust me on that front. I live around the corner from it. They're everywhere.
The only golfer I know is Molinari, and he came second in the Masters 4 years ago, 2019. So it's going to be interesting. So hopefully that can take my mind off footy around 13 and 14 when it gets tough. So but thanks, guys. Thank you very much.
Outstanding to talk to you, Christian Petrarca downstairs. 3 goals for him. Greg, by the way, from North Melbourne says, I think I missed a couple of goal kickers. I did. Both of them to that man, Christian Petrarca, when I read them out at the end of the game. Petrarca with 3. Melbourne kicking 19-12, 126 to West Coast 9-9-63. He was awesome to chat to. Love having a yarn to Christian Petrarca, fortunate enough on a couple of occasions to do so here on Grandstand AFL. So the 2 games today, just repeating for you, the Bombers by 13 points over GWS and Melbourne by 63 over West Coast, 19-12-126 to 9-9-63. Before we get the votes, the ABC Football of the Year and the Christian Medal for the best votes for the WA teams, we better have a look at all the other numbers. Dave Lindsay's got them for you. Dave.
Well, they really blew out in the last quarter in Melbourne's favour. They were nearly plus 50 for total disposals in the last quarter, so 415 was their final tally of disposals, and West Coast 336. The marks, Melbourne plus 20 in that space as well. Inside 50s, they also finished 20 to the good, 58 to 38 after it was much tighter throughout the rest of the match. Some of the leading possession winners, firstly for the winners, as always, Clayton Oliver and Christian Petrarca at the top of the list. Oliver, 34 possessions, 12 kicks, 22 handballs, 10 clearances, 10 tackles for Clayton Oliver. Christian Petrarca, 29 possessions, 3 goals for him. Lockie Hunter did a good job on a wing, 27 possessions. Trent Rivers really building nicely as an extra midfielder and a half-back, 27 possessions for the West Australian there. Ed Langdon, 22 touches. Brodie Grundy, 22 possessions and 33 hit-outs, 7 clearances and 6 tackles for the big ruckman. And Jack Viney, 22 possessions and a goal as well. While for West Coast, Tim Kelly, he's building into some sort of a season at the moment, Tim Kelly. 19 kicks, 17 hand passes for a total of 36. 6 marks, 10 inside 50s, 5 tackles and 2 goals for Tim Kelly. And then it really drops away to Andrew Gaff on 22 possessions. Jones, 24 for Gaff, 22 for Jones. And Jaden Hunt against his old side kicked a goal and had 20 possessions as well.
Let's get the votes. ABC Footballer of the Year votes, and also, of course, the Christian Medal. Who's responsible today, ladies?
Well, it's been a collaborative approach.
Cara, come on now.
It wasn't easy either.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't easy.
I don't like it when it's collaborative because then I can't blame anyone on Monday. When
I'll take all blame then. The one vote we've gone Tim Kelly. We thought, outstanding for the Eagles. 36 disposals, 16 contested, 10 inside forward 50s and 5 tackles. The 2, Clayton Oliver. He had 34, as you've mentioned, but 10 clearances and 10 tackles to add to that. And then the 3, quite fitting, Christian Petrarca, we gave the 3 with his 29 and 3 goals.
Okay. Tom McDonald get an honourable mention?
He did get an honourable mention.
He was mentioned.
But look, I think that was always going to be the case. We sort of spoke about it when we picked before the game, between 60 and 65 points.
Yeah.
We were nearly on the money there.
That's it.
And you'd probably expect with the young crew going through there for the Eagles, you'd probably expect to see Petrarca and Oliver up there, and they stood up when it counted.
So the Christian Medal's easy with T. Kelly getting 3 votes, a 2 and a 1.
So Jermaine Jones, thought he was pretty good across half-back, giving him a bit of run and carry. And then the one, we went Jaden Hunt, again, pretty good off the wing half-back and was able to hit the scoreboard as well.
Okay, so for the ABC Footballer of the Year, 3 to Petrarca, 2 to Oliver, 1 to Kelly for the Christian medal, 3 to Kelly, 2 to... Who got the 2 again?
Jermaine
Jones.
Yep.
And the 1 vote to...
Hunt.
To Jaden Hunt. Thank you. Melbourne move up into third. Their percentage is now 149.8. They've got 12 points from their 3 wins. And the loss for West Coast at this point in time sees their percentage drop to 77.6, and they fall down to 15th on the ladder with the 1 win so far. Remarkable to think that the Easter Monday game, which is normally huge between Geelong and Hawthorn, this year sees 17th placed Hawthorn versus the reigning premier, first reigning premier to not have a win after 3 rounds since 1976. The Geelong Cats, foot of the ladder.
Have to be a record for the highest crowd ever for a bottom 2, wouldn't it?
You'd think so.
No doubt.
Sure.
They'll get 70 or 80,000 minimum, and it's 17th versus 18th.
They've got some key ins too, the Cats. College Asney, Duncan Stanley coming back in. They are key ins. Segler's been managed. Henry omitted. De Koning injured. Bruin omitted. The one change for the moment for Hawthorn, Bramble was the player who was out. So, again, all that tomorrow for you on Grandstand AFL, wherever you happen to be listening. ABC Sport, ABC Sport Digital, of course, streaming on the Listen app. Every single game streaming on the Listen app. In the West, coverage from 1 o'clock tomorrow from the MCG. Question on the text line before we wrap things up with a couple of minutes to go. A number of people want to know your thoughts on the incident. Tom Lynch being sent to the tribunal. It seems ridiculous to me, says Anthony. I can see why they've sent it to the tribunal. Dave, you've seen the incident. I'm sure Bo or Cara have. The collision he had with Keith. Because there's always the opportunity in that respect to have it overturned. If they find him guilty of the high shot, he's leapt off the ground, he's made contact with Keith and he's knocked him out, then I think it is a heavy suspension. I'm normally pretty strong on these things. I'm not sure. But that's why I'm actually happy it's been sent to the tribunal where they can actually go through that process.
Yeah, I'd be the same. I don't think it's a concern that it has been sent there. It's been sent there so that people can actually hear the arguments from both sides. I would have thought he was setting himself to attack the mark in the air. He made a decision late to pull out of the mark and braced himself for contact, whether that's a bump or whether that's a protective motion. Well, he'll get to argue his point and the prosecutors will argue their point, and we know the outcome is where a lot of this sits these days, and the outcome's very clear. We've got an injured player with concussion again, so there's a case there, and we'll see what happens at the tribunal now.
Yeah, that's where I sit on it. I'm not sure whether he's protecting himself, or in this case, if you're allowed to protect yourself in that manner, having decided to attack the football the way it has. And that's a tough thing, because I watched it yesterday afternoon, and at the end of it, I still wasn't sure which way I sit. So I don't have an issue with it being sent to the tribunal, because as you say, they can sort it out. Anyone else with anything to add from that?
I didn't get to see it. Unfortunately, I was coaching, but I think we mentioned it before. What's the intention and what versus the action? Versus the outcome is a tough one. But as soon as you leave the ground and your opponent's in a vulnerable position, you question what your decision is and what you're about to make.
Yeah, I'm the same as you. I didn't get the chance to see it, Cara, but yeah, I think you've got to go at the ball at your hardest. If you've got your eyes on the ball and you're going at the ball your hardest and someone happens to get in the way and knocked out or concussed or whatever, I think that's so be it. I don't think that's something you'll ever be able to take out of our game. There's a lot of talk about concussion at the moment, and it's for me, I really sit there and just stop and go, well, what does this mean for the big picture? And then you think of a sport like rugby league. How can you even play that sport without getting concussed? Is almost impossible, I reckon. So it's just it's the big question that needs to be answered. It's sitting there, it's the white elephant. I'm not sure what the answer is.
The one thing we do know, Tom Lynch won't be playing for a number of weeks anyway, fracturing his right foot in yesterday's loss to the Western Bulldogs. On behalf of the entire team, thanks for your company wherever you've been listening today, right around the nation. Wrapping up the 2 games. The Bombers by 13 over the Giants, and the Demons by 63 over the West Coast Eagles. Grandstand AFL continues tomorrow from the G, the Cats and the Hawks. Thanks for your company.